Welcome back. Love Boat Project, episode 10.
This is the
I
last
am
time
your
I can
host,
do it.
Mike. This is your co-host, Mike, and this is our good friend, Buddy. Welcome aboard, Buddy. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, gentlemen.
Oh,
It's a pleasure
how
to
are
be
you, Mike?
here.
How are you this evening, sir? Mike?
I'm good, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm excited that we're in double figures now. It feels like just a short time ago we were doing the first episode, and now we have 10 in the bank.
Yeah, 10. I like being at double digits.
We're
It
only
feels kinda good.
240 away from being
We're
done.
right there.
So,
It's right there. It's within grasp.
doorstep.
Well, we're very happy to have you as a guest this week, Buddy. This week, this episode, center one of the main storylines is about a chef. Our good
Mhm.
friend Buddy is a chef. So before we hear about your
Currently.
chefdom, currently is a chef. Buddy, have you ever been on a cruise before?
Negative. Nope.
No.
Mm.
Do you know of anybody that is a cruise ship chef?
No, not currently. I worked with a girl once at a restaurant down on like 10th and Walnut. I worked there for a little bit. She did like Hawaiian cruises. I don't know if they were cruises, more like private chef stuff. She liked it. It was cool. But she was young
So
and she was
I had this
hot.
I had
so.
this note I wanted to ask you because we had this conversation last week too. There was a plumber on it. He was the cruise plumber, and we were trying to decide if cruise plumber is a top tier job in the plumbing industry or not. So would you think cruise chef is a top tier job or not?
Yeah.
After
for
seeing
sure.
this episode.
It
You
is?
think it is?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Do you say
Yeah, I
that
mean
because
it's like
of
because people have to eat,
yeah.
so
Well, is it
someone has to figure out what it is they're going to eat.
Yeah.
is it on par with like a nice hotel restaurant chef? Is it the same level? Would you say?
I would imagine
Something
I would
like that?
imagine
Like a
so,
nice
yeah. I would imagine so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, spoiler, Chef Borgia,
Oh.
at some point he's in Cabanaware. Like he is definitely enjoying
Yeah.
the spoils of the cruise more than the plumber guy was last week.
Yeah. No.
Or
he
he just-
definitely had like 3 suitcases of outfits.
It was all chef wise. Like he wasn't living the gimmick. Like he didn't walk in as a chef. He had like one.
No, he didn't.
Was his outfit when he left the ship the same as when he got on the ship?
Yeah.
That
Yeah, it's
hat.
like
It was
prison.
very similar.
Yeah.
So, like,
if
he's not
the
a lot
exact
of-
same.
Not a lot of like changing of different, but I bet you he's got like 50 pairs of chef whites in there.
He had that
But what about
weird
his outfit
hat.
when he came into the kitchen on the strike night? Was
What did
that
he
the
have
same
on?
outfit?
I think so. It was definitely the same color.
You have that stupid hat on.
And when he was walking through the hallway, I think the hat may have changed. I think he had more of like a fun fedora.
Did he have a hat
When
on
he got
every
the boat,
shot?
He had that like Andy Cap hat.
He definitely
can't
was
see
wearing
his
a hat
eyes.
every scene. He
Yes.
had a hat.
I wonder
Now,
what that's
you're not
about.
going to see Al Marinaro sans chapeau.
Not on this show.
No.
Nope.
Uh-uh.
No.
You want to see that? You watch some
You tune in
HDs.
Tuesday
Yeah,
nights?
right.
No idea.
Tuesday. All right, so we're going to talk about episode 10. We're still in season 1. Name of the episode: Dear Beverly, The Strike, and Special Delivery.
Just mailed him in
Just-
this week.
Mm,
The titles. Just
Department of
mailed 'em in.
Literal.
Mm.
Yeah.
We're on a boat of love. Like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Air date would be December 3rd, 1977, as we always do. We want to know what was on. As always on CBS, the Carol Burnett show Juggernaut continues. And on NBC, there was a movie. It's so funny because it's like there's only 3 networks. It's
Yeah.
like, so we're already talking
Yeah.
about the one thing.
Right.
It's another movie. Okay. The movie's called Deadly Game.
Oh, yes.
Right? A military convoy is transporting something apparently for disposal. They pass by Sheriff Abel Marsh's town, and they are passing by property that's owned by Amy Franklin, who is the girlfriend of Abel's deputy, Malcolm. Okay. Before they know it, everything around the property is uninhabitable. The army returns to clean things up and make restitution. but there is one nagging question. Was this an accident or was this deliberate? That is something
Ooh.
Abel is most interested in finding out. Starring Andy Griffith and James Cromwell.
Andy Griffith. How young is James Cromwell in that thing?
Reading that, you would never think it would be. Oh, it's an Andy Griffith vehicle. Definitely. There's no hot
What?
dogs. There's no lawyer. There's no Southern. Like nothing.
What role does Andy Griffith play?
I got there when I saw it was Andy Griffith. I couldn't stop laughing, and I moved on.
He's gotta be the main guy's
I would
property
think.
owner, right?
It's got to be.
And
He's
James
got to be
Cromwell's
Sheriff
the deputy,
Wendell Marsh.
I guess. Yeah.
Has to be.
So what are they
Yeah.
just driving around like nuclear waste and they spill it all over the property intentionally?
I mean, it's the late. I don't know.
What a wild
know.
movie!
Like a weird.
These Saturday night movies. To your point, a couple weeks ago, why is anybody watching Love Boat? These movies are amazing every week.
But this is just. I don't know.
It's
I
topical.
don't know.
It's pre.
I mean, I was 3
pre-
years
pre-
old, so I don't know what
Yeah, I don't.
people's viewing habits were. My parents are. I don't know.
So-
Yeah.
I wonder if people just kind of kept on it. Like you would turn on a network, right? If say I liked ABC News, do they just keep on ABC keep it on ABC all night, just because
Maybe.
it's more convenient? Like we're an ABC family.
Well,
I wonder
because
if there was stuff
you would
like
have
that.
you would have to get up to change the channel.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's true.
And
Plus,
there
let's
were
think about
only
it.
3 channels, like you said.
But I wonder if that
And if you're-
network choice was based on like their favorite local or national news program.
Sure, that helps. And plus, if you're
Probably.
this Love Boat is way too racy for your blood.
Oh, so far, yeah, they don't
So,
want
you're,
to.
so you're, it's either the movie or Carol Burnett. And if you're not a fan of comedy, I'm watching.
You just well, you know what?
Watching
If you're
Deadly Package or whatever that was called.
if you're not a fan of comedy, I'm glad you said that. It's a great segue. You could have seen the Flyers beat the Colorado Rockies 6-3,
I'll
or
take that, Devils.
Ooh.
that's right, or you could have
on their march to the cup.
That's right. That's right. We're gonna win
Fourth
so many in a
final
row.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or the Sixers lose to the Rockets 116-120. But don't
Rockets,
forget
not a real
baseball.
team.
I
Not a
wanted to
real team.
find just any baseball. Give me one baseball story for December.
What's
for this day.
December?
Yeah, one story. The White
Oh, there's-
Sox signed free agent Ron Schuler.
Oh, huge.
Mm.
Huge move.
Good.
That's
Big
why the White
story.
Sox
Is that
won
like
the
the
World
is that like the 3rd year of free agency or something? Like
Not a
that?
starter, by the way. He is not a starter, and is a
Yeah, that's a good
bullpen
point, but
pitcher.
there's not even really free agency at that point.
Mm-mm.
No,
So Ron
nothing
Fuller
like it is
really
now.
not bringing in the money. Yeah.
So I'm gonna get to the episode summary. Advice columnist Beverly Blanchard neglects husband Russ and drives him to another woman. Meryl, we're on a first name basis now. Meryl wages war with Chef Antonio Borga. Julie's friend Jeff Smith, which P.S. is the most vanilla name ever, like 2-syllable first name. Like come on.
Yeah.
Come
Well,
on.
that really ended up being a harbinger of the entire plot line.
Who's it?
That imagination. So
I think you already know how I feel about that. Just is separated from wife Gail, but doesn't know she's on board carrying his child. All right, fair enough. So let's get to the guest stars, and then let's get on the boat. First star, Ava Gabor, Hungarian actress and socialite. Starred in Green Acres. I'm not really familiar with Green Acres.
me
so
either.
I know the theme
It's our
song. but
second Green Acres.
Yeah,
because
the theme song.
Right. The housekeeper remember she was in like a lot of Green Acres episodes, we found out.
Really?
So
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right.
I
This
forgot
is our
about that.
second Green Acres person, but yeah, besides the theme song, I've not seen anything. I think Eva Gabor is a better actor than her sister. I thought she
I
was
think
pretty
so,
good.
too.
Jaja.
She was, she was
Yeah.
more like interesting fact about old Ava.
She had a lot of
Gabor.
words.
No, yeah, definitely. She was.
Yeah.
So that Green Acres show was on from 65 to 71. It was canceled 1971. And here's the weird thing. It was canceled in the CBS quote unquote rural purge. This was a policy that CBS basically adhered to in 71 to get rid of the network's rural-based TV shows. Green Acres got the axe, and the Beverly Hillbillies got the axe.
So two
Kind of a
shows.
weird reason to cancel a show, right?
So this
Rural
was CBS's
purge.
version of driving a truck with military grade nuclear weapons and then dumping it into the rural TV landscape.
And Andy Griffiths is eating a hot dog, just perplexed at the whole thing and whistling with a young Ron Howard. Leslie Nielsen, Canadian, by the way. I did not know that.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Like we all know Leslie Nielsen. What a Canadian treasure he was. Appeared in more than 100 movies, 150 TV shows. Leslie Nielsen.
Fantastic guest appearance.
He really was good.
Great. He was great. He got right to the point. This dude was just all about getting it on.
Dude, Russ
Like,
Russ
he told
Blanchard
her.
won the day. Like he didn't want to go on this vacation. He didn't even complain. He was like, "I'm registering this one complaint, and now I'm gonna be over here."
I told you. I told you. Hey, and by the way, carry my suitcase, just like that short gentleman did a few episodes ago.
The cool thing was this is still a couple years before Airplane, so he's literally just
He
a
was-
serious actor.
He was a
Yeah.
serious actor.
Yeah,
Oh, it was great. It's great. I just love Leslie Nielsen. I really do. He's just Canadian. I felt like he was ours, and now I feel sort of
yeah. That's surprising. He
off
doesn't
to
even
you.
out or anything. Yeah.
no out or
No.
sorry.
No boots.
Uh,
I gotta say, the one thing I did love about him, I loved his pants. I wish that I could wear my pants that high.
oh, like he's up like nipple height.
Yeah, they're up
They
there.
could-
Like
It's weird. Because then if you if it looks like you have if you have like a little belly or whatever, who doesn't? Then it just looks like whoa, like you have that Chris Christie thing going on. Like when his softball
I
uniform.
don't
is, like,
know.
not to that
I'm not
extent.
going
Like
that deep.
that's 10 on that sort of thing stale. But this is more like a 3, but it's still a weird.
He really was
It's
well
between a
dressed
3
the
and a 5.
whole. He really was well dressed the whole cruise though, because we've seen
was.
guys that like get dapper, but then their dress down is terrible. Like even when he was canoodling, like he had it together. So,
Yeah,
I wonder if that's more.
he was like
a
casual, crisp.
yes.
casual crisp. It's almost
Yeah,
like
He
not like him
irons. He
staffing
like
this.
irons his polo shirt.
but that's like old school. Like I don't think that's really of
Yeah.
the 70s as much of that's like more of the 50s based on, you know what I mean? Like that was
Well,
if
and
you
I
watch
think
like
they
a white
established
Christmas,
yeah.
everything's all pressed
had-
and everything's pulled up.
the
but
Blanchards had money. Like they
Yeah, yeah,
established that pretty. The Blanchards clearly have money. So.
absolutely. We're moving on to Al Malinaro. As Chef Antonio Borga played Al DeVecchio in Happy Days.
Yeah,
Officer Murray Greshler on The Odd Couple. I like The Odd Couple an awful lot as well. Here's a fun fact. I like to find a fun fact. In 1987, Molinaro and fellow Happy Days cast member Anson Williams opened a chain of diners called Big Al's.
Oh,
Not successful.
oh,
Not
what year was that?
87.
Yeah,
87.
maybe kind of trying to capitalize on the fame there.
I mean,
When did Happy Days
Awesome.
end?
Potts ate like 83 or 84.
and then
like-
Joni loved Chachi, and then but I thought Al didn't Pat Morita replace Al on Happy Days?
Vice versa.
Oh, vice versa.
Yeah,
Now speaking
yeah.
of,
I did some research too.
Good
so,
for I appreciate that, dude.
mhm.
speaking of,
Yeah.
both Potsy Weber, Anson Williams, and Pat Morita are coming up
Mm.
on episodes.
In the same
We're gonna
episode.
get Happy Days crazy here pretty soon.
Oh, I like it.
Mhm.
I'm a
This
big
is already
Pat
our
Morita
second
fan.
Happy Day. This is our second Happy Day, right?
Do we need to do
We
a
had
separate podcast?
We did have Scott Baio. Yeah. Yeah. Next one is Pamela Franklin as Gail Smith. Number one. She's British. Who knew?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Born in Yokohama, Japan. She had kind
Wow.
of an interesting growing up. Just tons of TV appearances. We know how that goes. Let's
Yeah.
stop messing. Let's stop messing around. We know what the main
She had
event
that.
is.
She had that vibe about her. I could see that.
There's a TV show that I loved growing up, and that TV show was called Spencer for Hire.
Yes.
And his friend Hawk. Let me just tell you, I
Oh.
love Spencer for Hire. Like, love, 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 love. So when I saw this guy, I mean, I almost got out of my chair and started cheering when I saw him on the screen. Let me just tell you a little bit about my friend Robert Urich here, okay? Number
Bob
one,
Urich.
Bobby Urich. He was on the crime series Vegas, Spencer for Hire, obviously. Here, fun facts here. Went to Florida State University on a football scholarship, and he played backup center. FSU football
Wow.
scholarship. And he
I
went
can
into
see
that. Big
acting.
enough.
He's
I
a
know,
pretty
well, he
big
was
guy.
a different game. Yeah, I don't know how tall he was. I mean, I know he was big, but he moved to California to follow his dream of acting based on the advice given to him from another famous FSU alumni,
Burt
Mr.
Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Yes.
Yes, sir. That's what got him going. And that's not even the fun fact. Here's the bonus extra fun fact. He later starred as Captain Jim Kennedy III in the short-lived spin-off series Love Boat: The Next Wave in 1998 for 25 episodes.
Oh, I kind of
knew?
remember that.
I kind of do
I
too.
don't at all.
Well,
1998.
Yeah, that's late in the game for a Love Boat.
So,
follow-up.
so
I
Urich,
was not watching a lot of TV in 1998.
No.
so Urich and Leslie Nielsen
Hmm.
come back multiple times over the next couple seasons as
Right.
different characters. In fact, I think they're both on this season, which is weird to have such a quick turnaround.
In the
I wonder
same
what the-
season as different characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're in the can before the original one aired. So it's like, how did they, or what would make them think that, oh, we need to double up on old Bobby Urich this season?
Like, we haven't- We know it happens because I think we've talked about a couple other guest stars that do come back
Right.
relatively soon. I will be curious to see if they go in a completely different direction. Like, they didn't do anything with Urich in this one. He was kind of just
It could have been anybody. It could have been a cardboard cutout
Yeah.
of this.
So I'll be curious to see if they give
Yeah.
him a little more to
Yeah.
do next time. Yeah.
So that
Yeah, it wasn't really until the end where he really started to like exhibit
was
some
a nothing.
chops.
Yeah.
Exa-
he just
just
seemed
anything.
sleepy.
he
Yeah.
was just
like-
tall in this episode, basically.
Yeah.
That's it. Just don't stop breathing and just be tall. All right, let's get on the boat. Here we go. So cookware gets wheeled aboard the ship. And Julie explains to Isaac and Gopher that since their usual chef has appendicitis,
R.I.P.
he's being temporarily replaced by Chef Antonio Borgia.
Now, buddy,
Is that how you say
why
it?
would this guy need to bring
Not
on
me.
all new equipment to the boat?
It has to be episode worthy. Like,
Yeah,
he can't
I
just
mean,
sneak in there. Was he bringing his own
he
pots
had-
and pans and stuff?
he had pots, he had pans, he had strainers, he had a bunch of stuff.
Well, let me ask you, as a chef, okay, say you're a chef, you're going to some new job,
there
right?
there were pots that were like still in the plastic wrap.
Would you bring your own pot? Like, do you bring your own knives generally to a new job, or
Oh, for
like your
sure, I would
own
bring my own
boat
knives.
pots? No, right?
No.
Okay.
I would have my knife roll with
Fair enough.
This guy's a diva, right?
knives and different.
He's coming in like Liberace of
yeah,
like
he's a
chefs.
real diva because he doesn't even introduce himself. Like, he's just like
No,
Borgia, Chef Borgia. Like,
yeah, like I'm supposed to have heard of you. Who are you?
You're a filling.
Yeah.
You're literally
Yeah,
a
yeah.
filling. You know,
Yeah.
So, and then let's make fun
I don't
of
know, but
Julie's
the
weight.
whole chef thing in 1977 could have been different the way that they presented themselves. I know the industry was completely different. Chefs,
Oh, it was
they're-
all drugged
you
up
know,
and
there's-
crazy.
there's an ego to it, right?
I
Like,
get
Well,
that.
our last chef-
you have
Our
to have
last
an
chef-
ego or else.
Our last chef had such a small ego that he woke up at 3 a.m. to deliver a cake and put a hat on.
Mhm.
So
He had PJs and a hat.
And now he
it
has
was quite
appendicitis.
impressive.
This is probably why he has appendicitis.
They're waking him up at 3 a.m.
Wow, exactly.
RIP.
Well, he's committed to the job.
He is. I love it. And Mike, you started to say it here. So Chef Borga says a comment to Julie about being way too skinny to attract a mate.
Mm.
And immediately I'm going, oh, no. You're saying that to the wrong person, meaning Julie's crazy. Like Julie's her self-esteem is so low. And I base that on like her relationship with the married dude, the way she was, going to hook up with that over 60 tour guide. Like, don't tell Julie. Julie's going to throw herself off the ship. Like, you can't tell Julie that kind of stuff.
Do you think that comment then immediately gets her hot to try for Jeff Smith? Because she's on him right away when he gets on the boat.
But that's a familiar thing, too.
They say that, but again, this is
Well, she didn't know he was divorced, remember?
This is
Like-
3 times that she's jumped a guy.
You know what?
as they
Good
get
point.
on the boat.
She jumped on him like a spider monkey. She didn't even know he was divorced. Or he's
Yeah,
not even
sure.
divorced. Like, she didn't even bother. She was just like, let me jump on you like some sort of marsupial. Like, what do you...
Well, we've established that Julie isn't really that stringent about married guys.
No. That's true. That's true. Heart of gold, that Julie. Heart of gold. Just looking out for you, Jay. Woo! The chef promises that he can fatten her up in no time. Julie assures him he's going to greatly enjoy feeding the masses. And Chef Boris just says quite loudly, and a jackass for a captain.
Yep.
Yeah, he just like it just comes out like just right away.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
wait,
no
what?
wasting
Like,
time.
what-
Just
huh?
well, I
Makes me
wonder.
wonder. I want to know about the backstory.
It's got to be more than
Immediately, I'm like, what's the backstory?
yeah. Like, what did this guy do? And I'm like, uh-oh. But it's funny because I'm like, when you start to see Captain Stubing approaching, and I'm like, oh, it's about to go down. Like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
Uh,
He knew. The captain knew
he-
that
what
he
he
was getting
did?
Borga.
Honestly,
Yeah.
the captain is the one who should like he was the one kind of being a D to this chef.
Oh,
my opinion.
totally comes off as a.
Well,
yeah.
and I'm saying that based on what he says. He says, Captain Stubing, who's standing close enough to overhear it, says, "What did you say?" Chef responds by telling the crew that he has nothing but disdain for their captain. And the reason is he once added ketchup to his bouillabaisse. So there's a reason right there that he's pissed off at that captain. But why did the captain, did he truly
This is
do
a
that? Like,
tenuous grudge. This is a tenuous
it's,
grudge.
Plus,
it's
to be
something else
fair-
is happening here.
So
I feel
here's
like I'm
my
gonna end
here's
up
my thing
being-
too. If he knows he's getting onto this ship to go for how long do they go for? Like a week?
10
10
days.
days.
10 days. He knows he already doesn't like the captain. Why do you take the job? Was
Yeah.
it like? Yeah, you're probably
That's
right.
the thing.
That's it.
I feel like I'm going to end up being a Stubing defender on this one.
Really?
Borgia seems like a real pain in the ass.
Oh, he's total. He
And-
makes a terrible first impression.
And buddy, I think that's why he's taking this job is because he's probably blackballed himself from a lot of jobs because of his. I mean, he
Yeah.
goes on
That's a good point.
strike. He's
That's a
been
good
working like
point.
2 days.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, and really, then.
and you're fighting over
But
ketchup.
if you're in
I
a
mean, at the end of the day,
situation
you're
like
fighting
that
over
where it's
ketchup.
like, I'm just gonna go to my cabin and
Yeah,
not make the dinner rolls.
yeah, they
the
should have thrown him off the
garden
boat.
salad.
You really want to put some skin in the
What?
game here.
Like what?
Oh, like all the ketchup bottles.
Well, Stubing said to him, he adds that the ketchup did nothing to improve the horrendous taste of his cooking. And informs his crew that he plans on eating TV dinners. And I think, doesn't he send Gopher out to get more TV dinners? Which I
Which
thought
is
was kind
funny
of funny.
because eventually
They're about to
Al
leave.
Marinaro becomes a TV dinner spokesman.
I didn't think about that. What, like a Hungry Man or something like one of those?
so.
Encore.
Yeah, he was,
Encore.
Encore. Yeah, he was always trying to go to your house and eat dinner with you.
Yep.
Really? I
Yeah.
don't remember that.
I
Oh.
remember those.
they're kind of creepy. He's like,
Standing in the freezer aisle and he's like, "Hey, I'll be at your house at dinner at 5." And it's
I'm
like,
like, well,
what?
nobody's letting you in, bro. What?
Not that
That's
lonely.
funny.
Like, just because I'm buying a TV dinner does not mean I'm a sad, lonely person.
And maybe this is a dumb question, fellas.
Mhm.
Buddy, can you clarify what bouillabaisse is? I think I know, but I don't know if I really know.
It's a French seafood stew. I think I'm 99.5% sure it's like a lyonnaise, like because it's on the coast.
Gotcha.
So it's like tomatoes, saffron, fennel, whatever seafood you can dig up. Usually the shellfish.
Oh,
Sounds
ketchup is
delightful.
not a
Yeah, why would
ketchup
you
is
put
not
it?
It can be really really
It
good.
sounds
Like,
like a fruta de mare
Yeah.
kind of thing with like a that sounds delicious. Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying is why did the captain do
it's
that?
usually served with like toasted bread.
It sound look for all to sop it up. It sounds
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah, it's really good. I make a good one sometime.
I would like to put some bouillabaisse. Travel agent Jeff Smith, 2-syllable name, saunters aboard the ship, kisses Julie on the cheek, and tells her that he's taking another cruise on the Pacific Princess because he's putting together a holiday package for the airlines. Which, what?
You don't need to
Okay.
go. You don't need to go on the cruise to put together the package. You just call Julie and be like, "Hey, what are you guys doing for the holidays?"
It's like, couldn't you just get a brochure and
Yeah.
take it back with you? Like, what do you?
Yeah.
Well, you're not taking video. Like, what are you
Yeah, you
doing?
don't need to be on this cruise for 10 days.
He's like a boat and water
Yeah.
and more water. Like, what?
What
are we
This
doing?
is like
I
Gail
mean,
Smith threw him out.
he is over it.
He is over it. He is
He's
over
ready
it.
to move on.
Mailing it in.
It's not
he-
what it used to be.
No, it's not. It's not.
a necessary job. It's not what it used
That's
to be.
That's it. He walks off in such a dejected fashion that Julie can't help wondering, like, what's going on with the glumness. She kind of wonders this out loud to Gopher. He used to be such a live wire. Gopher said he heard in the grapevine that Jeff recently split with his wife. Julie's kind of looking at it, and then we get to is that a like a or a and now we clearly see the chain of command. Julie was like, buzz off, Gopher.
I told you,
So now
Julie.
you're right.
Gopher and Isaac work for Julie.
I'm convinced of that now.
Well, yeah, I mean, chain of command. Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
But so, like, as
yeah.
soon
What
as
is
soon,
Gopher? Is he just the busboy? Is he a waiter?
the
It's
What-
like a
purser.
concierge, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
we haven't looked up
Oh,
purser
yeah,
yet.
okay.
We're holding out. We're holding out the Google to find out what a purser is. But
We want something to be excited for,
Yeah.
moving forward. I gotta think it's almost like a concierge sort of deal.
well, this has really nothing to do with this episode, but we are now 10 in, and
Right.
Gopher has not gotten anything to do.
Not one like
Gopher's
Gopher
not had an
storyline.
episode of any kind. We know nothing about Gopher personally. Everybody
We've
else has
seen his
gotten,
we've seen his stomach.
everybody else has hooked up at this point,
That's it.
or at least had
Oh, really?
illusions of hooking up.
But
Yeah,
I can't see him. He's the
I'm
just
comic
saying,
relief.
He's got
so-
nothing from Gopher in terms of like an actual off-boat thing.
There's like no depth to the character either. It's more
No,
just
there's
like
none. He
funny
moves-
or like
he
I
moves
see someone
plot.
cheating. Yeah.
He just moves plot. Yeah.
He's a busybody too, by the way. Just want to say that. Right, wrong, or indifferent. He's a nosy McGee. Just want to say that.
Oh yeah,
Him and
he
Isaac
totally
both.
is.
As
As evidenced by what we get into when the whole
Yeah.
when Ava's or Beverly is doing her speech and they
It's not the first time Isaac's witnessed
Yeah.
some tomfoolery and reported back about
Isaac's got years on the street. Yeah.
it. I bet you he has so many stitches. Because he's a snitch. From all of his snitches. Two
No
elderly
kneecaps.
women, no kneecaps. Two elderly women. I love a running joke on these shows that goes across, and it's I don't know. This is one of my favorite parts of the episode. Two elderly women are gushing, at Beverly Blanchard about reading her advice column. Blah, blah, blah. Gopher does his best to steer her away, and her husband Russ, poor Russ, with his pants pulled up to his pectorals, is trying to steer away from the fan. I'm sorry, he looks visibly irked.
yeah.
He's doing a Mike
He's
Robertson about
pissed.
10 years ago, mope in the corner. I'm not mad, whatever, do whatever you want to say.
No, I'm not ready to go.
No,
You ready to
it's
go?
fine, whatever.
Oh, no, you're not ready to go.
Yes.
Okay.
So, the old ladies, who I agree with you, Mike, they hold up well. They're actually
So funny.
probably my favorite part on the second watch. just
Yeah.
in terms of I didn't like this as much the second time, but they were really good. You know who they remind me of?
Hmm.
It's a combination of Stadler and Waldorf,
Okay.
clearly, from the Muppets.
Sure.
And it's the old ladies who used to do the Denny's commercials, and it would be like Lenny's, Denny's. It's like those. That's what they are. It's a combination of those two, and they're really excellent.
Because there's like a certain amount of feistiness that's
Yeah.
comedic when you get to these older ladies. So it's
And
kind
they
of
don't even give them names. At the end of it, it's Sister
it doesn't even
Two
matter. Doesn't
and
even matter.
Sister One.
Two elderly
Are
women.
these ladies on multiple episodes?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
they're not. They're not.
They should be though.
They
They
Okay.
should
should
just be
be.
part of the boat.
But like, are you
Um,
saying like that character is like typecast for every episode? Like, there's always kind of like
Not
Not,
always.
not as much as I
word
would have
is.
thought.
Mm-mm.
So we have this thought that you could make a lot of hay out of just recording 1 week, just recording a bunch of like reaction shots from people or a couple zingers and just dropping them in. It would really build out the boat. These people could be on the boat every few months and then making some comment, like just like a quick cut or something like that. But
Yeah.
they didn't even give him a name. They didn't even give him a name.
Mm-mm. In a way, I think it's kind of better because I
Yeah.
think it enhances the comedy. There's no backstory to anything. All you're seeing is these feisty old ladies smacking dudes with purses. Like it's just like all day long.
So were they attached? So this was one of the things you guys were
Mhm.
talking about in one of your earlier shows was the different writers for every episode. So this one had the 3.
Yeah.
So were those ladies interjected into every different storyline?
Yeah, and you know what's
Mm.
interesting? Because you're right.
Or
This
they
is
just-
the rare episode where you have a runner that goes through like a through line. I
That's
noticed
true.
at the end credits
'Cause
that
Doc,
they had like story editor or something. So
Mhm.
there must have been
To
for
go
this
back.
more of an oversee,
Yeah.
so
It's
'cause
smart.
We haven't had that much
No.
in terms
There's
of like crossover.
no. You don't.
Just
They're
like-
not even in the same shot. Like, you know what I
Well,
mean?
like-
It's not even they're following one that goes behind the other, and then
Right.
it's always just like boom.
It's pretty clean.
Yeah.
And
Like,
maybe because it's 3
Yeah, yeah.
directors, maybe they have
well,
to
I'm
like.
still convinced Radar wasn't at dinner last week with Phil Silvers. Like, I think they split it up like that much. So good point, buddy. Like that's actually a rare episode through line, which is good. I like that. It makes it feel more like a full episode as opposed to
agree.
Yeah,
3
yeah.
vignettes.
I agree. There's something to link them, like like a feather blowing in the wind and lands on these other
Bag in
people's-
American Beauty.
Exactly.
It's like, here's these 2 old ladies just roaming around the boat,
sassy
all up
ladies.
in everyone's business.
You go on a vacation, girl.
Criticizing everyone.
Everyone.
Everything. Whatever.
Well, Gopher tells these old ladies put a pin in it until Beverly's lecture on Sunday, and he ushers her further away. He tells Russ, "Hey, you got to step off too. You got to back up, Mister." And Beverly apologizes, and Russ explains that he's Mr. Blanchard.
Okay.
He should
Can
have just picked him up and like marked his territory right there.
Can we
Hmm.
put a pin in Gopher being introduced to Mr. Blanchard for later?
Okay,
Thank you.
gotcha. Pin has been placed.
Thank you.
Noted.
We are on. A doctor encounters a pregnant passenger. I don't even know what's going to happen next when I'm seeing this, and I'm thinking, "Oh, this is not good." Because I don't think Doc views it as a pregnant. You know what? I don't want to say that. That's a terrible thing that I thought, but I just was like, oh,
It was a weird twist of the like their lines. Like he came in like he was hitting on her,
clearly,
and then he was the doctor, and then he's kind of sort of not hitting on her for the
Yeah.
remainder of the show. That
Well,
that whole story was weird, man.
For a while, I thought they were trying because Doc's had some little creepy, even for the 70s storylines here the last few weeks.
Well, he
I
comes
thought-
across as a creepy guy, and this is just
Yeah.
so like I watched this episode. I watched another episode, which would have been episode 8.
Yeah.
and he just comes off as like a real creeper.
Yeah.
Well, the
And so I
hairstyle
thought
doesn't
maybe they
help
were
either.
doing like a redemption thing for him, but then he sex bombs the chick at the end.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no redemption. Like, so-
Just weird.
It's like hit you with it at the end. It's like,
Yeah.
"Whoop,
don't worry.
all right,
Doc
guess
hasn't
Doc
turned
had
over
to
the
get
leaf.
his
Yeah.
in the end.
Interesting
Fingers
thing.
crossed.
Interesting thing when they meet Doc and the pregnant lady. Mike, I don't know if you picked up on this. Doc's like, hold on, let me get your room assignment. And he just grabs a clipboard that's just like laying on the counter. So at this point now, security is so lax that not only do you not need really much to get in, but they're just leaving all the ID stuff
Right.
around. So
Right.
it's just like a loose clipboard. Like
It's
when they
just
would
there's-
hang menus at restaurants when you're standing in line.
You know what? I didn't hear one bark of a security dog the entire episode. I just want
They
to say
probably
that
had to get
right
rid of
now.
the security dog. After last week, they
You
probably
don't
had to
hear
get
that
rid of
dog.
the security dogs.
That dog
So
took a long jump into a deep pool.
you ain't gonna see him no more.
Never again. Sorry, buddy.
The whole clipboard check-in thing is like,
What we said before, it's like what no one's pulling out a wallet. So the only assumption
It's
sort of
nothing.
that I make is like maybe there's a security thing outside before you even get onto the ship. Like there would have to be, right? I would think. So
Into
maybe they're
that,
just
like,
like,
Theory, the
that-
security
that
dogs are like,
tunnel thing.
I don't know, or maybe before
Because I had
the
to
other
ask,
side.
Tanya. I was like, "What's this tunnel thing that is connected to the boat?" And she's like, "Oh, that's how everyone gets on." Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
but
I
I,
mean,
don't
you
know
remember
if
we
it's
didn't
like that or
tunnel,
if it's like, yeah, but I don't know if it's like just when you walk from the gate to the plane.
Right,
It could be
right,
from
right.
the
Yeah,
plane.
yeah. That's kind
Like
of
I'm
what
thinking
I
it has to be
associated with.
something. Like
Well,
who knows? But it's so
along
weird.
along the same lines of the questions is early in the episode, but we've already passed it.
Right.
Gopher and Julie are standing there before Jeff Smith shows up, and a couple passengers walk by and they say, "Welcome aboard." They don't check them in or anything.
No.
No, none of that.
So in theory,
Only
would
the
be
people
like-
that are like on the show.
right, it would be like, it would almost be like you go through TSA and then Gopher and Julie are the gate, which I guess is possible.
As like greeters,
Well,
Yeah.
like
think
welcome
about
to your
this.
flight.
Think
Yeah.
about this too, right? Let's imagine you're a crew member. It doesn't have to be Doc in this situation, and a person comes up, doesn't have to be pregnant. It could be man or woman, whatever. And they go, "I just want to get my room number," right? And they go, "Okay, what's your last name?" And they go, "Smith." Immediately, I'm going,
Yeah.
"You're full of crap." Like, show,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna look down and pick it. Like, you're full of bananas. There's no way that's your name. I'm just saying it's such a generic. There's
Well,
no
there's like
cross check.
40
There's no
Smiths.
anything.
Like,
That's
how am
what I'm
I?
saying,
Why-
like,
I could be in somebody else's room.
when they could just go, "Can I see your?" I don't know.
Here's your
Everything's
confirmation
so
number.
loosey goo. They
Here's
didn't
your
have, they didn't have
confirmation
to have
number.
passports in the 70s. I wouldn't imagine, to take a trip to Mexico, or I don't know. It's just so loosey goosey. I'm kind of jealous. Like, if it is that loosey goosey, like that must have been. I bet you it was. You really took it for granted because you didn't know
Oh,
it was
yeah.
loosey goosey. It was normal, but
That's
it
why
was just
everybody's
so.
getting, that's why everybody's getting some on this boat.
I mean, people got mad in the 70s
Yeah,
that they
I
had
agree,
to
Mike.
like that they made seatbelts mandatory. People were like, "Over my dead body." Like everything was just so whatever. Let nature take its course. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I think that's the way it was back then. Like,
I feel like it too. Like there wasn't
it's almost a completely different world than what we know now.
absolutely it completely different.
8 tracks, man.
A-tracks. Let's see. She glumly explains to Doc that there is no Mr. Smith traveling with her. And she says something under her breath that she made a big mistake, which, okay, we can already see that she's an oversharer. A lot of oversharing on this show.
Oh, she's looking for support.
Of course. Still feeling terribly creepy about this whole scene because you know what Doc's looking. Doc's not like, "I would love to be a stepdad." That's not what he's thinking. Like,
Did
he's
Doc?
playing the long game.
I forget. Did Doc see her profile when he first approached her, or did she turn around and reveal the pregnancy?
that's a
I feel
great
it was like a
question.
look down. Like they were both
Okay.
kind of at the bar, and it was a look down.
So he walked in and then kind of got a little
I
extra.
think she walked up. I think I say bar, but I don't know. It probably wasn't a bar.
counter.
Maybe it was like a, yeah.
Well, it's funny. I mean, he did, Doc said himself he likes them large. Maybe this is what he meant.
I mean, I knew you were
Why
gonna.
did he
I
say
knew you were
this?
gonna
What's
say that.
this all about?
I just knew. Throwaway line in episode 1 that you've brought up every episode since.
Because
Every
it's such a
Throwaway
it
line.
just. Oh my God, that's just funny to me. All right, God bless you, Doc. Beverly, she assures her husband that they're going to have a fantastic vacation. I would imagine Russ is already a little pissed off. It's almost like somebody came up to him and basically said, like, "Hi, what are you famous for?" Like, just completely just takes her legs out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He's
see,
been
it's
living
already,
that life.
yeah, he has been living that life. How he'd enjoy it more if he were paying for it and not freeloading off of her success. So it's like you're chopping this
He's
guy's
got
bees
money.
off.
Like Russ maybe isn't the breadwinner in the family, but he could be.
Yeah,
or
he's
he
certainly
thinks
not
he
a pool boy.
Right.
Like he's not some kept man.
Yeah.
What does he do, though, you think?
Sales, vacuum sales. I don't know, something. Management.
Maybe.
I don't know, something.
Yeah, I mean,
He probably works for Big Cigarettes.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like a Mad Men type
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Advertising.
Advertising. Yep.
Um,
You're
she says in exchange for her doing one little lecture on Sunday, they've been given free cruise tickets. Again, not bad, especially if it feeds her ego. It's not like she's hating it.
We'll get to it, but
Yeah.
The princess line, bad investment there. Giving her
Yeah,
free
the
cruise
horrible. Like,
for that massive turnout. that
Thank
they
you.
got a lecture.
thank you, all 6 of you, for my
Yeah.
13-minute lecture. Why would you
Cool
call it a
side.
lecture? By definition,
Why
this is
would
not
you
a
have it
lecture.
at the pool?
I think it's
you have a ballroom. We've seen it.
it's the good acoustics, so everyone can hear.
You're gonna
Yeah.
get splashed.
It's so dumb.
You're
Yeah,
gonna
it was.
stop
that didn't
Stop
make any
swimming.
sense.
Stop
Or
swimming.
Or if you're going to do it by the pool, everyone in the pool. Let's do it in the pool. Like one way or another, all in or all out. I agree. Do it in the dining room.
Anywhere. It's daytime.
They presented the whole thing kind of like as to like catch her off guard.
Yeah.
Like, eh,
Like, oh, I didn't.
Oh
yeah,
my
that's a good
God.
point.
yeah.
Like you
Oh,
get a
yeah,
free cruise, but you get the worst lecture setup ever. So
Yeah.
But is this how? Now I wonder too with a cruise. Like, say you have a big celebrity on a cruise, wouldn't you do something to sort of sequester them or give them space that they need, just so they
He
wouldn't be
likes it.
bothered?
but she says
Shut
No,
down,
I
like,
get that. I'm
half of
just
the boat.
curious, like
My
how
guess
they
is
would
that if
handle
you
that.
my guess is that if you wanted to have a little more seclusion, the boat would be able to provide that for you.
Fair
I
enough.
would Roxy Blue, for example.
That's
We've
right.
had celebrities on this boat, who took great means to not be found.
That's right.
So
That's right. That's a great point. I didn't
Yeah.
think about that. But you're right, buddy, as well. She loved it. So it's not like it wasn't an issue for her. Like it just fed the ego and I bet you it was one of these. Like the better she started to feel, this dude just went. You know what I mean? Like it was yin and yang.
this
Yeah.
ain't the first time that Russ Blanchard got put in the corner.
No. That's why he's
No,
got
not
white
at
hair
all.
too. He's
Not
just
at all.
he's only 26.
34 years old.
Let's see. Russ says he's perfectly capable of paying for them to take a cruise. Of course you are, Russ. That doesn't entail her having to interact with her fan base, but she says she loves her work as she does him. All right, this gets a little weird right here.
Yeah.
So he says, how much he'd love to make love to her right here, right now.
like aggressive, like aggressive.
Yeah.
love?
he
Like-
knew
That's
it
all
wasn't
it is.
gonna happen though.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
knew it
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
gonna happen.
He was saying that just so later he could say, well, you said no when I was trying to. That's all that
Yep.
was.
Yeah. Russ
Like
Blanchard
giving
is
somebody a
playing
reason to break
reading
up with
chess
you.
there.
Yeah. That's a passive aggressive move right there.
We all know
I did like that they basically were like, Russ Blanchard has a boner because he was like, I either have to take a shower or take a walk. It was just like so-
Jesus, dude. Good Lord. How about you bring a jacket with you? You know what I mean? Just an umbrella, something, a book.
Let me borrow that
anything.
typewriter for a second.
I'm gonna go for a walk. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. Just wander in the thing with wood. It's just
aft. You could be aft out there.
aft. hello, and he was open
They'll
to
find
like
something.
meet. Yeah, so he was just gonna be like, "Oh, hello, ma'am. Look at this. You know,
Yeah.
isn't this magnificent?"
Yeah, I
Something.
could have paid for this whole cruise myself.
He doesn't, and she's not gonna even notice because she's so wrapped up in her own fame or whatever it is.
He has thought of everything.
I can understand his unhappiness. Not a fan of his approach, but I understand his unhappiness.
Yeah.
It's quite a blow to the ego, I would imagine.
His
He's an
his
advice
approach though was like really kind of just like out of like, I got nothing left, man.
Well, he was, and yeah, but he went from like,
And there was just this lady that was just like, "Hi, I'm here."
well, it's funny because he went from like,
It's
man,
completely unrealistic, but
like what is it? You know, he just was like, you know, what is that word to something eyes to something eyes. Basically,
Eyes, safe.
she's kicking him in the bees. It's just amazing to me that you can. To me, if you're kicking him in the bees and you're like hurting his self-esteem and his ego, I don't know how that next move is like, well, I'm gonna put my bees on the table and just get some chick. Like it's a weird turnaround of emotions for me. I think it's odd, but
I mean,
dumb with
it's
that
like
stuff too, so.
Russ Blanchard was looking for any excuse.
He was ready to get on her like a werewolf. Good Lord.
Do you
You
think
better
Russ
have a
Blanchard?
silver bullet, girl. Woo! I mean, he
Do
was
you
gonna
think-
just
Do you think he's an advice columnist? And that's why
Secretly?
he's so mad. he's like the worst advice columnist. So,
or he's sending in
oh,
all
so like
the letters.
dueling. They're like dueling
Yeah.
columnists.
yeah, but nobody asks
Oh.
him advice for anything.
Or maybe he wanted privacy. Like in this, and
Has
she
that ever
was
been
just
a
a busybody,
thing,
so
though?
he
Like a
just writes all the
male
letters.
advice columnist?
A male. I remember, you know, Ann Landers, Dear Abby.
Why do I feel like that was a movie in the 90s?
What about a male?
Like a competing advice columnist.
Well, I mean,
couple.
what's her name did that movie where she was like a dog therapist, remember?
Janine Garofalo?
Janine Garofalo and Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
And then it was
that's not
it
the
was
same.
a Cyrano de
That's-
Bergerac kind of thing.
But that's
But
not the same. That's not the same thing.
No.
oh, you're
both
talking about
women.
like Gift of the Magi, that sort of thing? I cut my hair to give you a brush. Are we talking about that?
Move on.
Moving on. I'm sorry.
Next scene.
Next
Next
scene.
scene.
Here we are. We're at dinner now. Chef Borga. Can we get a
dinner's
consensus?
great.
Borgia in all
Dinner's
caps.
great.
Is it Borga or is it Borgia?
I'm
Can we
going
get a
Borgia.
consensus?
I'm
Borgia?
saying Borga in my head, but
So-
he also
so
was
here's what I
like
think
doing the whole
Borgia.
like fake Italian
Yeah, I
accent
didn't know
thing
what-
too. So like,
That's what I was gonna say.
I don't
His
know.
accent
Probably
is
Borgia.
so. His accent is so intermediate. Like it's
He's, in,
just
Oh,
he's,
like,
the
from,
worst.
he's from Wisconsin.
It's like sometimes it's Italian, sometimes
Right.
it's Spanish. It makes no
Right.
sense at all.
sometimes so it's Madison. Like, it's
Yeah,
Well,
it's just like, oh geez.
well, I sort of
Louise.
figured that
But,
for
like,
this.
we didn't have like immigrants in 1977, really.
Well, it's weird on this because I just was like, oh, maybe
Sorry,
he's from, like,
I
New
mean
York.
like modern day
yeah.
immigrants.
Like, when I saw his,
We're all immigrants.
when I see his face, I was like, oh, maybe he's from New York. Like I'm from that Northeast
Yeah.
area. I was
Oh,
like, oh, from Wisconsin. I'm like, wow, I read
Kenosha.
that wrong. I read that wrong. Speaking of Wisconsin, buddy, you are a chef. I've always looked for a time to bring this up. In my travels years ago, I was invited to somebody's house for dinner. I'll keep this brief. And they were making lasagna. So I go in the kitchen. They were from Wisconsin. I go in the kitchen and I say, can I help you? Is there anything I can do to help? Okay.
Mhm.
They said, yeah, you can cut the Velveeta, slice the Velveeta. And I was like, okay. I thought it was for like maybe a weird cheese and crap. I didn't know, for a dip, something. No. This Velveeta was for the lasagna. And I
Oh.
was like, oh, for real? That goes in lasagna? And they're like, yeah, that's how we do it in Wisconsin. One thing, horribly disgusting, but the saltiest, oiliest thing you've ever have in your life. And number two, have you ever heard of such a thing?
No, I've never
Okay,
heard of such a
Fair
thing.
enough. It was an awful experience.
But
It was terrible, man. It's terrible.
having spent 4 days in Wisconsin 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
I can see how that could be a thing.
They just bored.
I mean, no, they just love the fucking
No, there's
cheese. And
just
they have a ton
cheese
of it.
everywhere.
Fair enough.
You have to
Their
find a
cheese
place to
curds are
put it.
good, man. Yeah. So it's like you have too much cheese and not you don't have enough places to put it. You're good. You don't have anywhere to put it. They have an abundance of cheese.
Oh, so you have to shove it
Everywhere
in
we
the
went,
lasagna.
You gotta put it
fried
everywhere,
cheese.
man.
Just
Yeah.
fried cheese,
Fried cheese,
everything.
cheese covered fried cheese, like stuffed
Yeah.
cheese, fried covered cheese, cheese smothered free. Yeah. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome.
But putting
sorry.
the Velveeta in lasagna sounds intriguingly horrible.
I wanted to
Yeah.
throw a flag like I'm an NFL ref. I was just so
Maybe you got punked.
I would definitely have to try it just because.
the most subtle episode of Punked ever.
You
And
got
it was just
Wisconsin.
Velveeta. It was just Velveeta. There's no other cheese.
That's it. That's the only cheese
Yeah, that's weird.
with like ground. Anyway, sorry. During dinner, Chef Borgia looks incensed as he spies on Captain Stubing, who's dousing the gourmet dinner with
So
ketchup.
much
It looked like they
ketchup.
were lamb too. Like it was. I was like, why would you do?
Yeah,
that?
those
They
are
were
lamb
little
chops.
Lamb chops. Are you crazy?
Yeah, with
I
a
love those
little,
things.
hat that yeah.
Love those things. And he's
And
just
like that was a fancy serving boat for ketchup.
Yes. Why would there be bottles of ketchup at the captain's table for schmancy dinner where you need a short jacket? Short
Well,
jacket
it wasn't a
should be
bottle.
no
It was
ketchup.
like a
Oh,
boat
you're
yeah, it was
right.
like
You're
a
right.
whole
Yeah,
ladle
like
thing.
fancy.
You're
Yeah.
right.
You would
You're
use
right.
for like a nice sauce.
Oh, because it looks like you would serve that dish with like onion rings. You know what I mean? Something you would like serve.
I mean, to be
ketchup
fair,
with it
why
is
would you
weird.
have
Yeah,
half
it'd be like onion rings and mint jelly.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Why would you have half the stuff they had at the table? Because this is by far the most eating we actually get to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
at the
Remember
captain's table.
Radar?
Usually
Last
there's
week, Radar?
seating. So
They showed
it's like-
They
Like 2
showed
meals.
Radar. They showed Radar eat last meal, and literally, what he was eat after he'd been stuck in a room for like 72 hours with only a drugged steak to eat.
it's like a
He's
week. What are
eating
you
like
talking
hot
about?
liquid.
72 hours?
Yeah. He's just eating hot liquid.
Yeah.
So anything above hot liquid is like
Right.
hmm?
Everything,
Oh,
every other meal ends in a fight.
yeah, or somebody leaving,
Yeah.
or somebody being told to go to their room.
Although
Something's
actually,
happening.
to be fair, somebody did leave in this one too. So, but yeah.
I forgot to watch. Remember the one episode they said no, you have to sit boy girl boy girl. I've always
Yeah.
meant to see that if that holds true, but I
So far,
Forgotten somehow.
just off today's memory, yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's later on. It's Eva Gabor, Leslie Nielsen.
good call.
chick.
Oh, and then
Yeah.
the girl, Beverly and Russ, they enter the dining room and run into another couple waiting to be seated. The wife in that couple talks to Beverly how much she loves her column, which Russ is just probably just like
Again.
throw these people off the like enough of these, and that her goal was that while on this cruise is to meet lots of new people.
Real subtle.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, not desperate at all.
Yeah.
no, not like
The
I'm not
husband
gonna
doesn't even get to talk.
no.
No SAG
Yeah.
card for that guy.
I get that. It is awkward being around like a celebrity. Like I've been around a few celebrities, and it doesn't always go well for me because I don't know what to say, right? And it's just a weird situation, right? That puts you in instead of just saying, "Hey, you want to like?" I don't even know.
But that woman kind of started it.
Oh, she started it, and she just like
Right.
allowed it to go.
So I don't think that was awkward. If anything, I think
No.
it was rude.
That's my point. That's my point. It wasn't even like an acceptable way to
Yeah.
handle yourself with anybody, let alone a celebrity.
Yeah.
You don't just like because I would hate some couple walking up to my wife and I going, "Oh, we're big fans of the Love Boat Project." I'm like, I know. We're here to meet new people. That's where I cut it off. Well, you just made a huge mistake, ma'am.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Man.
ma'am. Beverly perks up because the ego's getting, she's taking
Yeah.
those shots of the ego. Asked Russ if he would be interested in dining with a couple, and he
And
graciously.
what's he gonna say?
What's he gonna say? because he
Right.
looks like if he says no, he looks like a jerk.
Right, he looks like
off
a
the
jerk.
bat.
Like you people look annoying. This husband hasn't even spoken yet. So what
Especially
I'm gonna do with them?
if you ask somebody that question in public, that's when they got you. Like, you don't even give me the option of giving you another answer, but yes, because then it's just all the negativity and all
That's
these
where you have to
fans
like fake pass out.
just
That's
turn
what-
around and walk away. That's
You
what
should
I
just
would
be like,
do.
no.
No.
Just like, no, you seem awful.
Mm-mm. Nope.
I mean, they did not look like a really fun couple to hang out with.
No.
at
No,
all.
it was just a bunch of seagulls like chirping away at this lady for free advice. I've been like, go to the Patreon site, guys. We're not giving this away
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah.
That's
But
the
maybe
problem.
this is but maybe I have to rescind my earlier criticism of the Princess Cruise Line with this lecture. It seems like a lot of these people are on this thing for her.
What did they just bail out? Well, they didn't come to the lecture because they got their free questions in
exactly,
before the
right.
lecture. So
But
they
they
got
got-
off in
But
Mottlesong,
the princess doesn't care. They got their money.
Yeah, we're good. The PP's
Yeah.
fine. We got our money.
Yeah.
Cha-ching.
Exactly.
We're back to Jeff Smith now. Jeff Smith
Jeff.
talking to Julie about
So
his string of.
confused.
He's so confused. His failed relationships, his imminent divorce, and his messed up life.
That whole makeout scene was super weird.
How
They just
bad?
made out, and then like 10 seconds later, after they're done, she's like, "Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, like what?
yeah."
How bad a kiss does it have to be for both of you to basically be like, nope,
Not happening. Like a mutually agreed upon, nah. Like, what were they
Yeah.
But
doing
I
in
I
there?
think Julie's so nuts. If he would have been like, that was magic, right? She would have been like, oh, yeah. Julie's like, she's not.
Oh no, for
Oh,
sure.
you
yeah.
know? So
Yeah,
that was
Julie
him
was-
going, nah, girl. You know why? Because I'm still married. That's probably
Like
the
Julie
guilt
was
of him.
bummed. Julie was bummed out,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
she
she
kind of
was
tried
all
to
in.
like, yeah,
Oh,
she
let me
tried to
spin
like,
this to
play it
make
off,
it look.
but
Yeah. Heart of gold, Julie.
But like,
Hmm.
does he have like? Did he like flick her in the teeth? Like what
I don't
happened
know what
there?
happened. He like
It's
bitter gum, something.
Yeah.
He grabbed
Give
her
her a-
bony hips and was like, "Ugh."
He's got
Just-
braces. Like
Yeah, something. Or she has an
Need
extra
more
row
meat
of
on your
teeth like a
bones.
shark, or there's something weird with Julie. Or she has like old lady breath. That's a thing. That's a
you think
thing.
like maybe? Oh, you know what it
Maybe
is?
she's bow-legged.
Maybe she's one of those people who doesn't like smokers because he does smoke a pipe.
Mm.
Who smokes a pipe though? Can I talk about that? It just seems like such a dated thing. You never
I mean, 77.
nowadays. Yeah, but
It's not a
nowadays,
young
like,
man.
pipe.
It's not
Do
a
you-
young man. thing,
no,
though,
but
like
now you never
smoking.
see
My
smoke- I mean,
grandfather
Right.
smoked a pipe.
So did mine.
exactly. Same here.
Yeah.
Same here. But now,
70.
Robert
never
Urich is
see
like
anybody-
30 in here.
is
He's
it because you
smoking a
can't
pipe?
smoke inside? Is that part of it? Because a pipe is not like a quick
You
smoke.
can smoke inside. We just
Mm.
saw Doc with like 90 cigarettes, like Elmer Fudd last
No,
week.
I'm saying is that why we don't see it nowadays?
Nowadays.
Oh.
Because of the timing. Because like I'm not a big cigar guy. Cigars take forever to smoke too, and I wonder.
I've never seen a young person smoke a pipe.
I've seen
Unless
a
you
bunch of
count
young
like a
people smoke
snowman
pipes.
who is not
I
that
mean,
old.
depends what's in their pipe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
You know.
Yeah, I get it.
Huh?
But
All right.
Where are the old ladies now to
yeah.
hit you?
Uh,
I think the smoking of the pipe is very much like it's like a
sign of
stationary
the-
thing, right?
Sign of
Like
the times.
You're sitting down, your chair, you got your book, you're
Sure.
reading something or something like
Yeah.
that. And you get
It's
your
like
pipe.
it's like a
you got
glass
your-
of. It's like a
not
glass
like an
of a
on the
good-
go. It's not
Yeah.
something that's made for like
Yeah.
our on the go society.
Yeah, you're not walking outside
Yeah.
the bar to
Gaga,
load up your pipe.
you know,
Light
yeah.
up a pipe.
I'll be right back. Take 2 pulls off my pipe.
I like to smoke a pipe while
45
I'm having.
seconds.
Yeah, it's nuts.
all this effort.
Let me step outside.
After this failed smooch, which we still not sure why it failed, she tells him she gets the sense that his heart isn't really into it, and Jeff assures her, like, what if Jeff would have been like I said, be like, no, girl, I'm 1,000% into it.
I'm
Julie
trying
would've been
really
like,
hard.
"Sweet. Oh, can we get married tomorrow? I live in LA. Brr, 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 brr." You know what I mean? Here's my I have a
I'll live
cat
on the
named
boat.
Herb. Yeah, like who takes
Urich
care?
probably tasted Buddy Stanfield on her still and was just like,
Does
"Pass."
Julie
Hard
leave Herb? 10 days at a time? Who's taking
It's-
care of Herb?
Oh, well, listen. There's a reason that a lot of us who enjoyed the social life in our younger days had cats, is because you can let those cats go. You can let those cats
Oh,
go
Herb
for
is
a long
Herb
time
is
on
a
their own.
cat.
Yeah, it's her cat,
Yeah.
Herb. But like 10 days? Isn't that pushing it a little bit?
Yeah, 10's a lot, but you have somebody check in like twice and you're fine.
Imagine if Herb is only one of her like 28 cats. Just, meow,
She's
meow.
a
Just-
hoarder.
crazy.
Yeah.
She does give off hoarder vibes.
I love her. I love her. She's got a heart of gold. I love her.
She's struggling. She's had
she's-
a bad little run here lately.
Got a
Her
bad.
apartment back at home is a mess.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
I'd love to see that.
Oh,
Some moldy dishes. in
If
the
they did
We
sink.
like
need
a
season
Cribs.
3 bottle episode where it's just the apartments that they live
like a
in.
Cribs. Julie, Isaac. That'd be funny.
I have newspaper
a
clipping
question I
photos
had
of
for
all
you
my
guys.
ex-boyfriends.
Yeah, here you go. Here's one, and then she throws it
They're all
out looking
crumpled up.
crazy, and it just
Have you
horrible,
guys-
the worst trash can
Have
ever.
you guys ever looked into seeing if there was like possible spin-off shows from the Love Boat?
Well, there was that one we talked about with the Robert Urich. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, you could have
maybe
made a
we'll
Julie.
see it
You could have made a
little
Julie
more.
show.
Wow,
Well, no, but
Yeah.
you could have made a Julie show.
it'd have been a wild show.
I hope I made a joke about this, but I hope
Hmm.
we have not seen the best of Julie. It's
I
too
don't think
soon.
we've seen the best of Julie. It's season 1. I think she's
Okay.
still playing it safe. I think
Okay.
it gets.
Okay.
Because think about it, right? Let's talk about like a season 2 thing. They've had a whole season to sort of like get comfortable in their roles and their characters, kind of stretch their legs a little bit. So I feel like season 2, season 3, we're really going to see that growth in the character. Before
I just think it's wild that they had her hook up with a guy who leaves the boat with his wife's baby.
Yeah,
horrible storyline, by the way.
It's just like
Yeah,
Dude,
that's like
really
West
bad.
Philly stuff.
It's just basically Jeff assures her that while she's a fantastic gal, he's still hopelessly hung up on his wife, Gail. Gail, so dumb. It's so dumb. Like, I'm Jeff Smith. I'm looking for Gail Smith, and Gail, who Jeff Smith? It's just okay. It's just it just bothers me. It just
I just
it's the
don't
laziest
care.
The whole-
storytelling.
I just
I don't
the
give
don't.
two
whole
crap.
idea.
I don't care.
of-
Live happily ever after, but I don't really want to hear about it.
I just don't care about this storyline
No, it
at
sucks.
all. They gave me
Like,
no
why
reason
would
to care.
why would you get on a cruise
Yes.
if
Pregnant.
you were about to
You're about to give birth.
Yeah.
Unless her dream was to have her baby in Mexico. That's the only thing I
So,
came up with because I
maybe-
thought that too.
Maybe, but that's
That's
pretty
wacky. It doesn't even make any sense.
advantageous.
Right.
So this is our 10th episode. So ostensibly we've had 30 storylines. We've had a few of these where people shouldn't go on for what we consider personal reasons, like the woman who got stood up at the altar.
yeah.
Like she went on the cruise. We thought that was an odd choice.
The woman
but
who
she
got
ended up,
raped.
Just cried.
she ended up, the the person who was in a wheelchair with a debilitating injury who goes on the cruise.
Still don't
And
know
then
what the
this
injury was.
woman who never talks to anyone else on the boat except Doc. Almost like Doc's a ghost or something. What was she going to do if Doc didn't come down those steps?
I
She was
think
just
in
gonna
the
be by herself. No one would have known she was having a baby.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe in the maybe
Figure
like
it out.
mid to late 70s medicine, maybe people thought it was contagious. They were like, don't let that lady touch me.
like
I don't want one
chickenpox.
of those things. Just
Yeah.
just like no, lack of information. No, it is odd though to get on a boat, number one, that late in a pregnancy. Let's just stop it right there. That's just makes no by yourself.
Yeah.
Not even like a
By
buddy
yourself.
with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're dumb. You're dumb. It's just dumb. The
And
whole thing
I'm
is
going to
dumb.
assume, like, because they would have said it, right? They would have said, "Oh my God, me and my husband booked this trip a year ago." They didn't say that,
Right.
Which means
Nothing.
she made a
No.
She booked
conscious
it.
Didn't even know she was pregnant.
right? Which again gets back to the point of how much does this thing cost?
Dude,
She just decides on a whim to.
she was gonna
is
sell
this
that
her
baby.
baby moon? You're not supposed to have your baby moon like 10 minutes before you go into labor.
Well, you're not supposed to go on a baby moon by yourself. The whole
It's-
point is wait here. See, now I'm
no one
thinking,
has any friends on this boat.
the thing is, nobody knows how far along she is more than she knows how far along she is. right? So we can just use a certain amount of reasonable logic to sort of deduct that she knew she was like about to give birth when she got on the boat, right? So why would she get on the boat? The only thing, again, I can figure is maybe she was going to put the child up for adoption in Mexico. Why the hell else would she go to Mexico? You know what I mean?
Wow.
I don't know what else to. I can't come up
That's
with any other logical thing.
They
Makes
don't
no
even
sense.
like give it. They don't, and this is the same thing that happened with the tennis player in the wheelchair. They don't even give it a sentence of attempted explanation.
Nope. They just
No
like
one
here,
even
just
says,
suspend. Yeah, suspend all
"Why
your
are you
disbelief.
here?" Like,
But
where
we're
the-
not going to
where
give you a
the-
reason.
Where are the old
Yeah.
sisters now? They should
They
be like,
should
you
have
should be on this
smacked
boat.
the-
Smack her with a newspaper. Or
Well, because she's
something.
a single, an
And
unescorted
you know what?
woman.
You know what?
Hmm.
That's why we're here.
Calling
Yeah,
people
that's
out.
a great point, buddy. That's a great point. Look at you steering the ship, getting us back on course. I like that. Oh,
We're
Gail
gonna
is
figure
dining.
this out.
We're going to figure this crap out. All right, Gail, let's get back to this. Gail is dining with Doc Gopher and Isaac, which they somehow get on this whole thing about blurting out name suggestions, which is kind of like a ha ha ha, but to keep going. It's a little
Yeah,
weird.
that was
like, it was kind of cool, funny at first, but I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, it was just,
so
yeah, it was heavy, a little heavy-handed.
it's a little heavy-handed.
I
Like
just
this,
can I just interject here?
of course.
The whole staff interacting with the guests thing. Being a hospitality professional myself, I'm just, I don't know how things were back in 1977 on a cruise ship. The whole interaction between the workers and the guests is a little odd.
It's too much, right? It's too much. Like
It's,
there has to be a line.
Well,
like
they
you're
also
saying,
don't
is
is
spread
it
it
a perk?
around.
Is it like a perk? Like,
But it's
hey,
very-
it must
today,
be.
go-
It's very
go for it.
focused.
Yeah.
Like there are 600 people on this ship, and each staff member has basically tied themselves to one person.
They're all.
Well, here's the thing
There's
too. what you're saying.
594
Which I think if
people.
it's good, if that's
Unattended.
good, that's awesome.
Here, you got me thinking on this too. Is now okay? Say like a person like an Isaac, right? Let's take an Isaac for an example.
Yeah.
No, or any crew member. So they're working a full day, and then when their day is done, they have to put on a short jacket and come to dinner and hang out with guests all night. Like, do they ever have? It's almost like they have no free time. Well, no, because
Or they have all free time.
right. So it's because the
Seems
Roxy
like they
Blue
have
thing.
all
So it's
free
like
time.
he had time then.
I think it's
So
a very
is this what they
on-call-
choose?
I think it's a very on-call situation.
But you've seen
Because
Julie
to
just
be honest,
yeah.
Doc went from pretty much not doing anything to delivering a baby.
Was he
you know?
drinking? Was he drinking? I mean, I'm sure he was, but I'm just
Not this.
I didn't
not,
see him,
At least they didn't put it on camera this time. If he was,
and I didn't see him
Yeah.
swallow the pills this episode either. So who knows? And we don't know. Not that he, God only knows.
There actually wasn't a lot of drinking on this episode, except for
No.
the one coming up.
No,
so,
there really wasn't.
yeah.
Cheers.
We're
I'm Colin.
talking. Nice. It does look refreshing. Gopher suggests the name Jeff and contemplates how great. Oh, it doesn't Jeff Smith really roll off? Isn't it beautiful? It's almost like a Robert Frost poem. Jeff Smith. That's a beautiful name. Beautiful name. 2 syllables.
2 roads
Jeff
traveled.
Just
One by Jeff Smith.
not even Jeffrey. No, go short now. Let's do one
Yeah.
syllable first name, 1 syllable last name. It's just awful.
And at that point, they hadn't mentioned that there was a Jeff Smith, right? It was just Jeff.
Right.
Just Jeff.
Yep.
Gail gets, upset, flees the dining room. Doc races after her, finds her sobbing against the railing. She barely knows Doc, and this whole
Yeah.
let me comfort you by hugging you close and all this stuff. And
Hysterical
like-
pregnancy.
it's just run. Unless you need medical attention, this doctor's got stuff to do. Like, I don't know what. I am not. You are clearly a bummer. I don't want to. Obviously, you're a bummer.
You're bumming for 2.
I don't need to hear this. Come on. Yeah, she leans against him and she's sobbing about how Jeff Smith's the name of her soon-to-be ex-husband, and she's still in love with him, and he has no idea she's pregnant.
Yeah, she delivers all the exposition through tears, basically.
Yeah, checks all the "I'm crazy" boxes too. Like, oh, and I never told him. You know,
But
so
again, they don't give
I'm
you.
glad you said that.
They almost like they don't give you anything good. They just give you stuff to explain the other end of the story. Like it's a locket or something. And it's just like it doesn't actually make it interesting. So like, oh
Like,
yeah, we figured out that Robert
totally
Urich
not
and her.
interesting.
But it's just like
it's just Legos. Like,
It's
oh,
just
did
who
you know that this
cares?
goes
I
with
just
this?
didn't-
Like, oh, shut
I just
up.
never
go
cared
away.
at all about that.
Screw
all.
you, Jeff. It's just enough. Enough. And it was just insulting. It was insulting at the end of this to be like, "Ugh, this useless circle of a stupid storyline. Like, I'm done. Get off the boat. Get off the boat. Good
The
luck
whole
with both of you.
the whole story should have just been about the feud between the captain and the chef.
I mean,
I'd be
really,
fine with that.
really.
Well, throw in the Beverly one. You can throw in the Beverly and Russ one too. But
Oh
this
yeah,
is
that
the
was
third.
Yeah,
well,
flesh
'cause
it,
then you have
flesh
to
it
have
out a little
Leslie
bit. You can get a little
Nielsen,
more.
But it's
But
almost
we'll get to the
like-
problems with that. We'll get to the problems with that ending too.
But it's almost like it was framed as 4 storylines. And as Mike and I have seen on many occasions, well, on 9 occasions other than this, there's usually the 2 that are, but there's usually the one that is just put on the pay no mind list. And I feel like this
Yeah.
is sort of
It's like
par
a
for the
throwaway.
course. Maybe a
But
little
they-
lower than
But
normal.
they work. But the funny thing is, a lot of the pay no mind ones are usually wacky comic relief.
Right. I
This
don't
was
mind
just-
that.
This was an attempt and a miss.
It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
next day by the pool, Beverly apologizes to Russ for neglecting him early in the day. I put a pin in something you said earlier about Gopher and Beverly. Is now the time for your pin?
Yes. So, Beverly tells Russ that she's going to work on her book, which apparently didn't come up before. Russ is like, "Screw that. We're gonna get some drinks." So he goes over to the bar and he orders a couple rum Collinses, which is why me and Buddy are drinking rum this evening. So he gets to the bar and it's Isaac and Gopher. And Gopher asks Mr. Blanchard if that's his wife, Beverly Blanchard. They were introduced in Act 1 to each other. And the only reason they do that is so Isaac then knows who it is. So when he catches him cheating, he knows who it is.
Oh, they were spoon feeding, weren't they? They were
Just
really
have
spoon
Gopher say,
feeding.
"This is Mr. Blanchard." I think they messed up.
Yeah.
You didn't have to, you know what I mean? Like if you're a writer, it's not hard to connect those dots, but that's
That feels
such
like
a
a continuity
weird
error,
way.
a rare continuity error. But I was mad. I have it in all
Interesting.
caps.
I had a question about that scene too, because so he tips him, what was it, like $3?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, he tipped you $3, but he didn't pay for the drinks. Are the drinks not included? Like, is
We
it
have
not
seen
open
zero-
bar,
Good
Yeah,
question, buddy.
we think it's all.
inclusive?
We're operating under the fact that it's all inclusive. And
That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
And
me
the other
too.
thing is too, these guys are even more all inclusive because we know they're on there for free because she's giving the lecture.
That's true.
So maybe
Everything's
that was
off,
a
generally.
joke that missed.
Maybe. Oh, good
But-
joke.
Yeah.
It is weird because you think
Yeah.
you would know, oh, hey, that's Beverly's and
Is
Beverly.
$3 a
party of
bad tip in
Beverly's.
1977 on 2 free drinks?
I thought about that too. I was like, what's $3 in 1977? I was like
I mean, $1 a drink is not terrible.
$8.
Yeah, like
Because I almost think 5's too much in my limited knowledge. 5 seems to me too much for that. 4
For
you
two
seems,
don't like
drinks?
your one.
yeah, 5's like 4, but then 4, it's like, well, it's maybe 5 today that's a good one, but 5 still seems a bit rich for me.
For a tip or a drink?
No, for a tip on 2 drinks.
Oh, I
I'd
think
go
you give a
five. I'd
five
go
on a
five.
free
You go
drink.
five?
On a free drink, that's a five.
Oh,
yeah.
on a free drink.
Yeah.
You know what? If it's a free, you're absolutely right. Free drink 5. I agree. 2
Yep.
free drinks 5. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
Depends
Okay.
though. You hanging out there all night? You're just in there for a
Well,
drink.
he's trying to get his wife drunk. He's very clear about that.
Yeah,
So
'cause
you
he
tip
Are we,
wants
on a
early and
boat?
often.
Are we on a boat or are we at Oscars?
Well, I mean, we never paid $3 at Oscars for anything. So it's
Yeah, he wants to get her liquored up so he can mount her like a werewolf, as he
make
clearly
mad,
displayed.
passionate love.
And like the longer he doesn't get her, the higher his pants get in every scene, just like an inch at a time. He's
He's
giving
got
up
to
to
take a
his neck.
shower or a walk.
If this was part 2, he'd be nothing but pants. You would just see a belt at the top of his head.
So he's at the bar for what? 30 seconds. This
30
whole
seconds.
interaction is 30
Not
seconds.
even 30 seconds.
He
Leggy
goes back
Peggy
over, and it is a housewife convention over there.
everywhere.
Like these people just came streaming out to bother
A
this
gaggle.
woman.
A gaggle. Yeah, he waves the drink at her, and she didn't even notice.
No,
So he
she's
just,
got
you
an
know,
ego.
oh,
He
she's
was
loving
like,
this cruise.
he was really waving it.
He's
Too.
clearly the tallest person
was
there.
ringing a
Like she
bell.
knows. And he told her, "I'm going to get some drinks." So she was just like,
Right.
"Bye, whatever.
Man,
I'm going to
she
drink
just-
this." Ugh.
I have this phrase that I use with Michelle when she's around her family, especially when we didn't live close, and she
Right.
would see them, and I would call it Potter blindness because she would be so excited to see her family that she would just leave me by the side of the road. Basically, she would just run over and see her family. That's what this feels like. This woman has like fan blindness. It's just like as soon as she sees anyone paying attention to her and asking her a question, it's just Russ
Yeah.
Blanchard, you're out.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Like,
I don't
So,
blame the guy.
no, I don't blame the guy. That's
No.
annoying.
I will say this: this storyline is what it is. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
They did a very good job of setting up the like. You can make the argument, Mike, like you did, that it probably jumped a little bit, but
Yeah.
ultimately, it's like here's one example, here's two examples, here's three examples.
Sure,
boom,
sure.
You know, so
It was a clearly thought out, like, because of this, thus that. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
especially
It's
because they
logical.
seem very happy otherwise.
Yeah. Other than that.
Yeah.
Although we didn't see him really in another environment other than this until the end, but they were still kind of in that environment. I bet you
Yeah.
she's a bee on wheels at home normally. This is
Oh,
nothing.
see, I disagree. I actually think
She's
I
Hungarian.
think she just has a. I think she's just one of those people that like she likes her job and she doesn't see it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I agree with Mike.
Nice. That's a good way to do it right there. Because we're both Mike, so you can never go wrong by saying that. Nice.
Usually.
I disagree with both of you, Mike.
You disagree with
terrible.
both of us.
It'll be the last time you're on this show.
He encounters a pretty young blonde named Peggy, remarks what a popular wife he has, and Russ agrees and offers her Beverly's cocktail. Enter
kudos
two,
to Peggy.
Yeah,
Kudos to Peggy. And I know it's the 70s, but you're just literally taking strange booze from a guy you've never met. Good for you.
yeah, good for you.
Good
Rolling
for
the
you.
dice
She
there.
seemed to be
Not
just kind
gonna
of
worry.
freewheeling though. She was just
Yeah.
kind of.
She was out on the
Yeah.
prowl, like she knew
What's
what
her
was
sto-
up.
What's her story?
She was like, "What's the worst that can happen? You're gonna roofie me. I kind of want that to happen anyway. I'm
mean,
Peggy."
Her actions throughout the episode gave no indication she was worried about getting roofed.
Yeah, her virtue was not of the highest. Yeah, no, she was not doing things to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Here comes the two elderly women. We're linking stories here. Here we go.
Yep.
Two elderly women who were notice Russ keeping company with this young woman who's not Beverly. Walk up and purse smack him. Love it.
Yep.
Just give me purse smacks every episode. I hope these guys run every one.
You know what, guys? Let's
Hmm.
let's maybe give a chance to platonic friendship.
Maybe these guys are just old friends catching up over a couple rum columns.
Can a man and a woman be friends?
I mean, if I had a nickel
Damn
for every time I met a friend over
Not on the
rum
Love Boat.
Collins.
Not on the Love Boat.
Yep.
Do you say Tom Collins?
Rum Collins.
Rum Collins.
Not to be confused with Tom Collins.
Not to be confused with Tom Collins.
No, which according to my wife is just rum and sour mix. A little squirt of seltzer water.
Doesn't
So that's
sound
why
good.
Isaac was able to make those drinks so fast then.
Yeah, because he's not making those zombies. He's not making those crazy like 27
It
ingredient
took me
drinks.
20 seconds to read
didn't
the
even-
zombie ingredients.
Yeah.
He didn't
yeah.
even make the drink when he
Mm-mm.
gave it. They didn't show
Nope,
him making the
just
drink.
there.
He was
He
like,
just-
rum
they
Collins.
have-
He's like, Mark, there it is.
They have two of every drink made already.
Just under the shelf, they're all pre-made.
Yeah.
Just imagine like a 6-hour-old pina colada. It's just like old, warm.
When's the last time
coconut
somebody
milk.
ordered a rum Collins? Like he's blowing dust off that.
Midori on the rocks. Like, oh, just dust on it. There you
Rum
go.
floating in a man's hat.
Just awful.
Couple ice cubes. There you
Just-
go.
Our good friend Chef Borges above deck tossing out the kitchen's entire ketchup supply. I thought this was hilarious. What a cool visual gag.
Lot of littering into the sea in this episode.
Well, I felt better.
I don't know if the whole
they weren't
intro with
broken.
the confetti into the ocean, into the bay, and then all
Oh
the
yeah, that's true.
bottles. And
Yeah, but you send
It's
like a
pretty
message in
exciting.
a.
Well,
Valdez, though, we didn't know.
But you,
I'm
but
not,
if,
you know,
if somebody
what it
sends
is,
like
but-
a message in a bottle, it's the same thing. Some islander in the middle of nowhere is gonna like go swimming and get a free full bottle of ketchup.
It's just a
Yeah.
handful
Like
of
bonus.
those are
Like-
glass. Those are glass bottles.
Yeah, those things aren't gonna-
Wasn't plastic. back
They're
then.
washing up all over the Pacific.
There's got to be a better way to throw out the ketchup though. Like he should have just
Why don't you just throw the whole box out
Right.
at,
Yeah, you
at
could have
once?
dumped the whole fucking.
Just the whole
thing.
box. Just
yeah.
dump it. Like just
It's-
get rid of
it's
it.
classic
What was the deal
Borgia.
with like sneaking one off?
Yeah,
He
at the
wanted
end
to
there,
get
he's like-
caught.
it's classic Borgia.
He wanted
He's
to
gotta
get
be
caught.
dramatic
It's
about
like
it.
Oh, I hope the captain doesn't see me slowly throwing away, not even 2 at a time.
One at a
Come
time.
on, dude.
Yeah,
You know the captain loves his ketchup, apparently.
he's weird.
You know
though.
he's got like a
He's-
GPS on that stuff.
And it's all spite ketchup. It's not even like he wants to eat it. Poor captain and his bottles of spite ketchup.
Plus, okay, so you're a scab, you're a fill-in cook. Now you're just throwing away
Chef.
stuff.
Chef.
Chef, sorry.
See? That's
You're
how the
just-
captain got in trouble.
All right, that's not how he got in trouble.
Well, he called him a short order cook.
Yeah.
That's true.
Same.
I told you I'm pro,
Stooping on this.
Fair enough.
but you shouldn't be throwing. You shouldn't be taking money away from the boat.
Well, plus, what if a guest? What if a guest wants ketchup? Yeah, all you're doing is hurting the
not
guest
his
What if
experience.
I'm off
He's a-
the boat in a
a temporary
dinner or
worker.
something?
I bet you it's not cheap. I bet you a case of glass bottled ketchup back then was not the cheapest thing in the world either.
No. $6.
Yeah.
A
And $6
pop.
is like $600 now or
That's
something like that.
two. That's 2 tips for 2 rum Collins.
Look at that. A new car costs $73. Chef Borgia says to the captain that he can swim for his ketchup if he wants to disgrace his cooking.
Burn.
And then he sort of starts to talk about the challenge of creating food for hundreds of passengers every day. Captain, you know where it's going. Captain Steubing saying, well, it's much more complicated. I was going to be like Freaky Friday. What if we switched
Great.
places?
That would have been great.
That
Yeah.
would have been great for 30 minutes. And, and then you go back.
They had like jumped right into it too. They were like,
Yeah.
they were already like rolling out dough and
Well,
whatever else.
we haven't
peeled
even
potatoes and shit.
gotten to that yet because he didn't even
Oh,
ask for the
yeah.
chocolate souffle or anything. My thing with
Okay.
this is
All right.
how-
I'm
how-
getting ahead.
How are they not just after a certain amount? Wouldn't the chef like? Have you known chefs coming up that will? I've heard stories about chefs throwing things or being. Wouldn't the chef have taken a swing at Steubing at this point?
A little early in the dispute. I don't really.
As
Also, we don't really know their backstory. So
but his guy's presented to be sort of an Italian, fiery, big egoed
true.
man of
True.
Southern European descent. Let's say that. I just feel like his character, he would have smacked Steubing.
But also, he has taken the job.
Yeah.
So
Temporary job.
I
too.
think he's a
well,
drama
yeah,
queen.
I mean, he's definitely a drama queen.
Yeah.
For sure.
You can't
don't think
lasso
he'll
this
fight.
Mustang. I'll tell you
I
that.
don't think he's gonna fight.
Um,
And also, Steubing's a Navy man. You don't fight. Like he'd kick the crap out of Borgia.
Maybe that's
I don't know.
maybe they were in the Navy together.
Like Borgia's going to stab this guy. Borgia's not going to
Maybe
like get out of
Borgia.
breath.
Well, is Borgia from Italy? He's got that fake ass Italian accent. I feel
Sometimes
like
he's from
Italy.
Wisconsin. He's from Wisconsin. He's in the Little Italy region of Wisconsin.
You know,
It's by Sheboygan.
maybe they were in the Navy
Um,
together.
Hey, Bicker. See, we switched. Julie's hanging out in the ship's casino.
Hold on.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What did
You
I
missed a
forget?
staff member, a new staff member. Steubing has
Oh,
tries
I
to
did-
put his ketchup back,
Who
and
was
it's too
that guy?
heavy, and so Alvin walks by
I
and
missed
gets
the
the
name.
job.
Oh, yeah.
I
And
did see
Alvin
Alvin.
has a very nice James Brolin in Pee-wee's Big Adventure-esque beard.
I did remember. He
Very-
didn't look like a crew member.
No,
Like he
no
looked
words.
like a cleanup guy for like Ringling Brothers back in the day. He didn't look like
Or
a.
the 1978 Cubs.
He
He,
was like Captain's like,
yeah.
go, you take this below because that's where
Yeah.
you belong.
Yeah.
no lines for Alvin either, but
No.
there's another
Nice
staff member.
5-second
staff
spot.
member of you.
I like it. Thank you. Julie's hanging out in the casino with Jeff, plays one of the slot machines. She urges him to do something. Do something with the wife situation.
Make
If
a
that's what he
move, Jeff.
wants. He's just grumbling how he burnt the bridge and she won't forgive him. And walk away from the slot machine. Seconds later, enter Gail with Doc, plays the same slot machine and wins a jackpot on the first try.
Who
But then I'm like,
cares?
Who gives
Who
a- who cares? Who
cares?
cares? She's about to give. What are we doing? What?
I just don't care.
I don't
just
care. I don't care.
That
I
whole
don't care
scene
if you're.
was pointless.
I don't care. Like you could never.
It's
show
such a
them again.
boring storyline.
It's so
Yes.
dumb. It's a way. Do you know what? Just stop. Unplug the camera. You just
Also,
stop.
why is Julie still tailing this guy?
Because
You had the worst
because
kiss
she's
on the
supportive
boat.
now. She's supportive.
and nuts.
And
You know
Don't
what?
forget the nuts
Maybe I'm
part.
too spiteful a person, but if I start making out with somebody and they're like, "This isn't gonna work, is it?" You're not. I'm not hanging out with you at the casino.
Oh, I would dig a hole and stick my head in it. There's no way I would ever talk. I would never be seen by that person again. I would get extensive
You'd be-
plastic surgery. I would
you'd be
never.
You'd be crawling inside one of those ketchup bottles.
I'd be hanging in the shadows like that guy did last week. No way, man. I can't do that. I had a
there's something
stupid
about
thing.
all the staff on the Love Boat that just are drawn to really negative and not healthy
I agree.
Yeah,
love situations.
So we're
it is
at
true.
There's some desperation there. There's some
I agree.
desperation.
Yeah,
There's
and
a-
again, as we've pointed,
all the time without the sea, and
but as we've pointed out, these are 10-day cruises.
Right.
A lot of times they're horned up in day one.
Mhm.
It's not like
Yeah.
it's not like a 3-year tour
No,
that you're
exactly.
taking.
Or
you
are they
know?
going like? Are they going like 10 days on, 5 days off?
I
So
don't
the-
know.
The
Undefined.
only
You know.
the only indication we've gotten was a couple weeks ago. The captain said, "I have a weekend plans to do
Yeah.
something or other." So our thought is, you do 10 days, have 4 off,
Something like that. Yeah.
then go back. So that's our working theory right
Mhm.
now, which can be proven wrong otherwise.
You
All
can
right,
probably
let's
look
get-
that up.
So during dinner that evening, Beverly, again, it's Beverly Russ storyline. Beverly's regaling about other diners, about various stories, and Russ is just eating food. Just Russ is head down eating food. Beverly tells Captain that she sure loves some chocolate souffle. That's a bit of a diva move to go. I know it's not on the menu, but I would love this super delicate dish. Like,
Why is she
have some
giving the
cake.
captain of the boat her dinner order?
because her ego is just being stroked
Yeah,
so
that was
much
weird.
that she feels
like-
like
There are waiters. We've seen them. Where's Vince from last
She-
week?
she wanted the captain to get it. Like, come on. Ugh, no wonder this.
He was
Russ.
taking the orders though.
Yeah.
Russ
Well,
is-
he's a bit of, and maybe this is why he has that TV in his office. He kind of has like these housewife tendencies. Like he was really into Roxy Blue. Now he's really into this advice columnist. Like he's got some guilty pleasures that kind of come out.
Interesting.
Not captainly.
Captain summons Gopher and orders him to make a special request. Gopher returns that Chef Borges told him where he can shove his special dessert request, which made me laugh. Captain goes in the kitchen, confronts Borgia about this insubordination. He refuses to make the dessert.
Insubordination.
Insubordinating. I like that. Nice.
Good.
Steubing refers to him as and I would imagine this is a big insult in the chef community, as a short order cook. Like I would almost think that that's like saying to a comedian, like, you're just not funny. Like that would just be the worst thing you could say. Just kicking him in the
Yeah.
pretty bad. So Borgia says, look, you better apologize, Captain, or it'll be the last meal that I'm cooking aboard this ship.
But
Yeah.
he asked
Yeah.
for an apology in writing.
In writing.
In writing.
Because
be in writing.
otherwise, this plot will fall apart.
Well, unless you have Gopher call him on the phone and do the impression that he did.
Sure.
It's the only thing I can think of. He refuses. They go back. Souffle's a no-go back to Beverly. Beverly says it's fine. Looks over and Russ is gone. He walked away with old Peggy.
But the
Just
couple from the
Gone
dinner
the
the night
dinner table.
before was like, you said goodbye to him, you psycho.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember?
Yeah. Talk about me. Like, good Lord. You just need, how about a little self-awareness? Isaac heads to the upper deck. Here we go. Just like you said about that scene to deliver a drink, notices Russ and Peggy, and hastily sneaks back down the staircase. Like, physical acting by Isaac on this is
Yep.
he's
like, "Ooh."
yeah.
Well,
Isaac,
we'll find out. Like it's that, and then it's later. Like Russ Blanchard, he's not sneaking around.
or he's the worst
Not at
sneaker.
all.
He's the
Yeah,
worst.
I
he's
would
sneaker.
the
know.
worst at
Ever.
sneaking around. What do
He
you
like
doesn't even know what
poolside.
sneaking is.
He's like 10 feet from his wife.
You're right there.
He's
You're
like,
within
"Hey, what's
sight
this?"
line.
You know, would be a great
And then he's
spot
just
to
like
hook
up
up.
the stairwell.
Like, why don't you go to
It's
why don't you go to the starboard side of the ship? All you got to do is go
Is-
right over there.
Who's Isaac bringing these like 8-ounce like cold beers to?
That's true.
It's a softball team. It's a softball team. They're here around the corner.
But good point, buddy. They're not getting those beers. Like
No.
whoever is
Nope.
ordering.
Nobody's getting those
It's
super
not
tiny
getting
and now warm beers. Yeah, just the worst.
I gotta tell you, when he came out that door and around the corner with those little beers,
Mhm.
it was like, oh, those look refreshing. I'd take one of
Yeah.
those.
You know what kind of beer it was? We learned
Where's he
from other
going?
episodes. I bet you it was a Heineken.
You think
Remember
it's
it? We
a
saw
Heineken?
the
Oh, 'cause in the
cases of
beginning they
Heineken
have
being
the
loaded.
I was gonna
Heineken.
say Michelob Light.
Maybe. I remember Michelob back then had that gold foil.
Oh yeah,
That was always
best.
cool.
Best beer bottle
Maybe
ever.
Meister,
Cool.
maybe it's
Best
Meister
American
Brow.
beer bottle ever.
Meister Brow's big back around this time.
Oh
Meister
yeah.
Brow was. So was Lowenbrow.
Schmitz.
Here's the good times.
Tell you
Let
what.
it be low in brow.
Isaac talks to Gopher about what he saw Russ kissing another woman. Gopher contorts his face, calls him a rotten creep. But here's Isaac's. Isaac doesn't know anything. Isaac says, well, it's Beverly's fault for neglecting her husband. Like, are you hiding under the bed in their room? Like, what do you...
Isaac, I said this a
What's
couple
up?
weeks ago with the Marie McCormick storyline. Isaac has a TV at the bar where he's watching the show because
Everybody.
he is always informed.
Like, how many... It's like that Game of Thrones, like the birds told me. Like, what is going on? Like, see, the seagulls work for you, Isaac? They're
Maybe at
dropping
the
you
end of
little
this whole thing, it's going to be Isaac with a snow globe. Like he's controlling all of this.
It's just crazy. And then Gopher's, I don't know what to do. You guys are such busybodies.
Just mind your
if he should
business.
Tell,
Do something
just
else on the
leave
boat.
it. And
Yeah,
Isaac's
go do
like,
your job.
right.
Yeah, go purser.
It could be a
What-
purser,
yeah.
Gopher. Isaac chuckles and says, like, it's a problem for dear Beverly. Oh, foreshadowing. Here we go, Jeff again. Who cares? He's wandering around smoking a pipe. We talked about how weird the pipe thing was.
I
don't
don't
even
like
care.
seeing Robert
even
Urich
care.
this like sad.
No, you should be taking down perps. Come on, Spencer for hire. What's going on here, man? Like this, we could get any actor to do this. Why is he doing this?
Well, this is
This
what
is
we
just a
always talk
dumb
about,
rule.
right? Where it's like we don't
Oh, the
know if
opposite
they
story.
write these things. Well, there's that.
Yeah,
But then it's also like we don't know if they write these parts way in advance and just whoever's available that week. Or to your point, yeah, maybe Robert Urich's like, you know what? I've been on Vegas. I've been on SWAT. Let
I
me
need something else. I need to
let me
lighten
be
it up.
boring as hell for an
Was he
entire hour.
was he on those shows before this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
SWAT, yes. I
SWAT
don't know
was a
about
big
Vegas, but yeah.
yeah, he was on Vegas before that too,
Okay.
as well.
So yeah.
So
So
here's and the thing with this could have been Gary Bergdorf in this role. It could have been anybody in this role. It's not a physically dependent. Maybe that'd be a weird combo, but you didn't need this guy in this role. Like, I don't understand why are we wasting our book? What are we taking a gun and we're just throwing away all our Robert Urich bullets, just throwing them away. We don't even need them. Like, this is not
Well, that's why now I'm really curious when he comes back to see if they really try to go the
Right
complete
the
opposite.
ship.
Because you're right, he should be taking down boat perps. You're absolutely right.
heck
So-
yeah. He's Robert frickin' Urich Spencer for hire. Spencer with 2 S's, by the way.
More like Spencer for tired.
No, I was. Okay,
What-
sorry, I
what
just wanted to see that. Oh, that's funny. She saw, back to Gail. Ugh, who cares? She's sobbing. She thought she just smelled his tobacco pipe just now, and then
And the baby kicked, which is
the
great.
ba-
Let's make sure we
Yeah,
really get a
right.
good inhale of that tobacco for the baby.
yeah,
Gail.
get it all in your Gail.
They just
The
keep they
baby's
just
trying to
keep
kick you
missing
out,
each other.
man.
Doc urges her to call Jeff and inform him that he's going to be a dad. Boom.
Hold on. I wrote this quote
Yes,
down
sir.
because I thought it was pretty good. Doc's like, you got a whole jackpot of quarters. Why don't you put some into a phone? Way to go,
That was
Doc.
good. That was pretty
Truth
good.
bomb for Doc.
Yeah. That was pretty
Doc
good.
dropping knowledge. Doc just cutting right to the
Doc's just
bone.
like,
I wish
didn't know
I
you were
wish that
pregnant
they had
when I
like,
ran into
shown-
you, could you
I
please
wish
go
they'd
away?
shown the payphone.
Yes.
Yeah. The whole time Doc's just like,
Her like cut to her like on the phone.
but Doc's like, Gail, just, ballpark. Like, what are we talking? How long are you going to be out of commission for? We talking 3 months? We talking 4 months? Like, what? I just need to know how many 10-day cruises until we can, spend time together with Doc. Like, I just need a ballpark. It's just weird. The whole thing's still creepy to me.
It's so creepy.
Beverly's delivering a lecture to her many fans.
Hmm.
I would love to go back and get a count. I should have done that. Gopher notices Russ once again. Yeah, like you said, Russ doesn't give
Yeah.
2 craps, man.
Yeah.
He's within like what?
Yeah, he's
with
like up on
Peggy.
the balcony.
Yeah,
Look,
he's like
here's
overlooking
the
him
thing.
like
He's
Sting used to
watching
watch
them.
matches
He's
in
watching.
WCW. He's in the rafters.
So here's the thing. Peggy has her own room, you would assume. Russ, if this lecture is between 2 and 3,
Yeah.
you got your own room. You know what maybe is not as inconspicuous? It's just the deck right above your wife's lecture.
Anyway, how about just the other side of the ship?
Also,
go to the
you know
other
what?
side.
I get that it's the Love Boat, but you're making out like you're teenagers. Like, I'm trying to enjoy myself in the pool or getting a self-help lecture, one or the other, or both.
I just can't imagine a man, I don't know how old he is, just wants that. Yeah, that's what he wants to do. He wants to
He's an
make
exhibitionist.
out with some girl. Yeah, that'll
This is
check
a-
that box.
Yeah, this is a
Yay.
sliver situation. He's into it. He's
And
into
this-
the voyeurism of it.
And Peggy's just all about the making out, and you're like, oh, great, I get to
Peggy's
make out
like-
with Peggy again.
Peggy's any porn
Wonderful.
store. I mean, yeah.
Ugh, just
And good for Peggy, by the way.
if that's
So
what she came on the ship to
is,
smooch, she checked that box too.
Yep.
Is our point of view of the 2 old sisters just go
Oh,
around smacking everyone
it's a good
with
point.
their purses?
Maybe.
Maybe
They should have
Maybe.
climbed up the ladder to get to that deck. And beat the hell out of Peggy. So,
That's
oh,
funny.
Wrecker.
But they never smacked a woman. It was always the guy,
Yeah.
which
They
is
didn't
interesting
smack-
too.
Well, who
She
did
was
they
the
call
floozy.
sex fiend at the end? Was it
Doc.
Peggy or was it Doc?
Doc,
Doc.
because he was with
Doc's
Peggy.
a sex fiend.
Yeah.
And that's when she was like, that, I don't know. We'll get to that, I guess.
Yeah.
Gopher decides to ask Beverly for advice about a witty and charming friend who isn't paying enough attention to her husband. Good Lord, you're a busybody. Who's reacting all the time she's devoting to building a successful career. Beverly says that if this friend has the audacity to spend time away from her husband, she needs to deal with it or to suck it up when he turns to another woman for attention.
Which, by the
then-
way, that's terrible.
The
advice.
worst advice. Like, who
That's
the hell is
terrible
listening to
advice.
you, lady?
Here, how about you have a conversation first?
It should be
Pretty
called.
bad.
Yeah.
It should be called Dear Beverly, who has no self-esteem. That's what it should be
Yeah.
called.
And apparently has no peripheral vision because only now does she realize that her husband is scoring up stuff.
Just right.
Yeah. Look up.
It's just terrible. Julie pleads with Captain Steubing, swallows pride, and apologizes to Chef Borgia. Steubing refuses and says he can handle a kitchen worker strike. Here we go. Enter comedy.
This is
Needing it.
funny.
It's funny. It's
This
funny.
is funny. This is objectively funny.
It's funny because it's just they're not doing anything. They're
Nope.
doing everything, but they're not doing
It's
anything.
so bad. They're not going crazy with it. It is
It's just
so
big
good.
things of dough and just
It is
water.
great.
and
Grover's putting the
and
potato peels into the soup kettle.
Yeah,
just
it's
in case
just-
it's where the garbage
It's
goes.
It's all great.
Doc
And you know,
killed a fish. Like it's great. It's
the
absolutely
director
great.
was just
Yeah.
like, "Have fun with this. Have fun
Yep.
with this
Yeah.
gang," and it was great.
And that kitchen,
It's tight.
if they're serving 600 people a night out of that kitchen,
Everyone gets a peanut butter and jelly
I
sandwich.
don't blame Antonio Borga for walking
They
off
have a
why-
doctor.
in
They
undue,
have a
undue
doctor
circumstances.
cooking.
Well, the thing is, those weren't pots and pans he was bringing in. He was bringing in like a kitchen extension to make this thing a little bigger or something.
Oh my God. That was like, yeah, I've worked in smaller kitchens in Philly basements before.
A few seconds later, Chef Borgia enters the kitchen looking delighted. Captain Steubing says he assumes he's here to apologize. Chef Borgia says, in fact, he came to receive an apology. Captain storms out. Chef informs the crew that, hey, if they want him to return to the job, he's going to need that apology in writing. You can see
Not
the
gonna
light
happen.
bulbs going off. You
Yep.
feel like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Scene. Next scene, Julie's handing Chef Borgia a written apology. Like, wow,
Yep.
we didn't even have anything in between.
No.
Forged with the captain's signature. He grins and said he's more than happy to return to the kitchen. Same time. So they were like synchronized watches. Isaac hands Captain Steubing a written apology forged with Chef Borgia's signature.
It's like a
Few
Three's.
seconds.
It's like a Three's Company plot.
It is.
Basically.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
They all see each other, but they're like, no one can
Yeah.
say anything. Are they going to?
Yeah.
Oh, Russ. Back to Russ enters his cabin. Beverly's typing up her column. She explains that she's in the process of writing to her fans about how she's going to be out of commission for a while. I thought as soon as she said that he was just going to leap on her and just like, "Rah," because that's what this whole thing was about.
So
she's
this ending is nonsense, right?
it is nonsense. Thank you.
So
it is.
he gets away with cheating. They never
Oh.
even have to talk about it.
She
which
says,
is
"Don't
the
tell me."
exact-
No, she's
She
like,
said, "I don't want to hear the
"Don't tell me."
details."
She literally says like, "Don't confess. Don't ever confess."
Oof.
And then it's the exact same way that the Richard Mulligan Loretta Swit ended.
Yes.
Just they
exactly.
reversed the sexes.
Yep.
But like, he gets a free pass. She doesn't want to hear it. Like, she's not even mad. Everybody's cool.
I
Terrible.
think she realizes it was her fault.
Yeah, all's well that ends well. It's too neat of an ending for the story. It's like, wait, oh, it's all wrapped up. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's all wrapped
Very
up. now.
early
Is it?
too. We're still in like Act 3.
But it doesn't even like there's no like it's almost like the actions that happened were sort of empty because there was no repercussions for any of the actions.
Right. Like,
it's
you know
like,
who
well,
didn't
what
learn a
was the
lesson?
point?
Russ. The only lesson Russ Blanchard learned was take more cruises.
Yeah, don't pull your pants up so high. You're on camera. Good Lord, Russ. Chef Borgia's back in the kitchen. Steubing drops in, expresses his relief that everything's back to normal. Here we go. You know what's happening. Tells the chef it was big of him to apologize. Chef Borgia says, as far as he understands, he was the one who apologized to him in writing. They show each other the apology letters. Denying that they wrote the letters, Julie and Isaac declared that they're off to track down the forger, which kind of made me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, what a cool way to... Borgia yells at Captain Steubing for being in his kitchen. Again, the captain reminds him that the kitchen's part of the ship. He starts to stomp off, and then here comes the captain. Come on, Merrill.
He bites the bullet. He's the bigger man.
Decides that his
He
that
does.
this,
He
he
does.
says this dumb feud is gone long enough.
Yeah.
He's got a ship to run. He can't. Come on, man. Apologizes to
then-
Julie and Isaac for who've been eavesdropping on the conversation. Yes,
But
sir.
then that's it.
That's it.
They wrapped
That's it.
those two storylines basically up.
We're done. Now
And
we got to
we're
deal with
stuck
this
with this
stupid,
boring ass pregnancy
stupid.
storyline.
This episode could have ended right here with this
Yeah.
happy grin. They could have hugged, and
I
I'd
coulda
been
watched
done.
the
Oh, but
end
there
of-
was a baby born on the ship.
Right.
and,
We could have watched the
could've.
end of that Andy Griffith movie.
A Deadly Ground movie or whatever it was. Gail tells Doc she tried. Let's just wrap up this stupid Smith storyline here. Gail tells Doc she tried calling Jeff, learned that he's currently on a work trip. Points out that
Yeah.
checks out, giving that he's a travel agent. It's all starting to come together. Jeff tells Julie he's decided to contact Gail to tell her he wants to resume the marriage. She squeals and hugs him, but aren't they? They're kissing again.
Yeah,
And
it
Gail
was a little
notices the
forward.
two of them through the window
Yeah, it was a weird,
like,
kind
"What?"
of like congratulatory, like.
because Julie wanted to get on that thing. That's what's going
Yeah.
on.
Well, she
she's not-
did, but he
she's
was
not a good friend. Like she's that girl that can't have a dude friend
Or she's a
because
great
she's
friend.
just
Maybe that's how, like,
Depending on
girl-
circumstances,
I
yes.
don't know. 1977. I don't know.
uh,
I'd have to ask my father.
a few seconds later, she goes into labor. She's beginning to go into labor. She water broke. And Jeff,
Funniest line of the show, funniest line of
What?
the episode, I think, was so Robert Urich. They realize that they're both on the boat, so Robert Urich picks up Gail to go into the delivery room, which is funny because
He picks her up.
this boat is lousy with wheelchairs, but Robert Urich has to drag this pregnant woman in. But
unless you're a tennis star, they don't have a
right,
or you're Bill Bixby that
right. If you sprain a
your
knee,
knee,
you can get
yeah.
tennis. Yeah. The best part is though. So Julie's like, "Can I help?" And Doc was like, "Forget it. I saw you make a salad." That made me
Oh, yeah.
laugh out loud.
That's a
That was
great line.
really good.
that's a great line. That's
Oh,
super
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
And then I thought too, like I've had the I've been lucky enough to be in a room for 2 baby deliveries. And let me just say that is in no way a one-man job. There's a lot to man. There's a lot going on.
Well, there was
It
a
is
second person.
wild. Who's the second?
that
person?
was also like
Robert Urich.
I've never been in the room for any baby
Dude.
delivery, but I'm assuming that had to be one of the most mellow
Yeah.
baby deliveries of all time.
So Mike, when
Hmm.
they show the shot, it's Gail on the table.
Right.
It's Robert Urich.
And that
It's
thing.
Doc.
Yeah.
And then there's a fourth person
Is it
masked up.
Vince? Is it Vince?
Well, I assumed it was Julie, which
Unnamed.
was really going to make me mad. It was an unnamed staff because that's the person who like dabs Doc's head at one point.
Like
So they,
anybody could do that too. You know what
so
I mean?
I
It's just
assume
like
they have a nurse on staff.
even,
I really
She
thought it was gonna be
makes an
Julie.
appearance.
even
season 2.
so, you still.
Yes,
But I mean, I can suspend disbelief. But it's funny because before the next scene happens, I'm thinking in my head like the comedy of this doctor who we've sort of said this guy's not a doctor, all this time. Now it's on him. And can you imagine? It's one of those like I'm gonna walk on a baseball field. I've never, I maybe swung a bat as a kid,
Yeah.
and first swing you hit a home run. Like the
but I thought
chances
it was
aren't good.
funny. I thought it was funny, and this has happened a few times with us already.
Mm.
They kind of did the bit we did about is Doc a real doctor?
They
Like,
totally
they-
did.
they
The
totally
captain
all-
was sweating. It
Yeah,
wasn't about like I hope the baby's all right. It's like I hope
Right.
Doc doesn't like kill
Right.
somebody.
like is he a real doctor? This guy that we've been entrusting our medical care for with.
Um
The ending
yeah,
was funny.
It was
Payoff,
yeah,
The payoff was pretty good.
payoff was good. Yeah, they're wondering if Doc is actually a real doctor, if he's ever delivered a baby. Steubing enters, also expressing anxiety about Doc's medical credentials. Just like you said, everything we thought. Inside the exam room, Doc urges Gail to push one last time. He announces it's a boy. The crew look very relieved. Pat, like,
Yeah.
he's probably a real doctor.
How many people do you think were waiting at the bar for a drink and couldn't get one because Isaac's in the waiting room of the delivery room?
Well,
it is.
I would imagine they have a backup bartender. Like
You'd
Isaac's
think
not
so,
the only
but we
bartender.
never see a backup
never see
bartender
him.
ever.
Well, we saw like servers, right? Like there
Well,
were
you think,
like,
Vince.
you think
Vince.
there were
Alvin,
waiters.
Alvin.
Alvin,
The
Vince.
guy that comes
Alvin
from
Rollins.
behind, you know.
Well,
right?
up until we
Plumber.
learned
Borga's there,
about
like inspecting make sure that all the little like chef
Yeah.
hats are on the lamb rack bones.
Mm,
Up until
He's like,
up until, last,
doesn't do anything. He's like, all right, good to
up
go.
until last week when we learned about deputy
captain, I
mm.
would have been worried about the boat just running into a reef or something, but at least we know that's safe.
In theory, the boat drives itself. Apparently,
It's all
is what we're
computers.
You
I
just
mean-
plug it into the computer.
Yeah.
So now we're wrapping up. It's that scene. So as this episode's passengers begin to depart, Doc runs into Peggy
Yep.
and says, "How is it that we didn't hook up?" Now, this was odd to me. So he ushers her to the side, and I'm thinking, this is like looking for a date outside of like the departing flights in an airport. Like, what? Why would you do this? It just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. You got a
Because
whole
Doc
new
just spent
crew
10
coming
days
in.
walking around with a pregnant woman. That's why.
He's all stressed out. I need
he's
to
backed
release
up.
some stress.
Yeah,
Well, he's ready finally after the twins.
right.
Maybe the
He
best
earned
thing is that Gail was pregnant, for his own
Yeah.
sake.
Also, Doc is kind of a creep. He
Yeah.
has.
Yeah, he's creepy.
He's just trying to hook up with whoever.
He
It
just gets a
really-
little.
It kind of felt like, because I
He's
really
got
thought
some
for a
things going
second,
on there.
I really thought for a second it was a course correction. They were like, okay, Doc's been too creepy. We got to uncreep him. And then this
No.
this was clearly like, oh, don't worry about it, fans.
Yeah, don't worry, guys.
Doc's
He's still
still a
just as
creep.
creepy. Don't. Yeah, it was interesting.
He's grabbing a girl from the gum magazine section of the checkout
What is
line.
going on, dude? Good Lord. Here we see the two elderly Dear Beverly fans witness this and chide him for being a sex fiend.
Sex fiend, which was great. And then
Guilty
Peggy's
as
like,
charged.
oh, I wish I would have met you
There you go.
before.
Beverly and Russ thank Gopher for a fun cruise, and they go upon their merry way. Captain Stubing tells Chef Borgia he can sail with him any time, that he loved the chocolate souffle.
Why
Chef
are these guys
Borgia-
great friends now?
It's
Like,
just,
I understand you
Yeah.
they
can.
gotta
you have-
turn so far the
you
other
have
way.
reached a comfortable working environment. Why are you besties now?
You know
Well,
what?
'cause it's almost
tension, and these problems, they bring people closer together.
But it's almost like I feel like the more realistic outcome would have been like, all right, let's just agree to disagree. I don't like you, you don't like me, but we have to
Never
work
step
together.
foot on my ship
Just-
again.
But
Right.
they need
Your
to,
kitchen's
they need to
inside
bring
my
him
ship.
back. They need to bring him back. He's gonna come back.
Well,
I don't know. We're
Chef
over.
Borga,
don't
Chef
know.
Borga is not. He's,
We're-
and I don't know this because I've seen every episode of Limbo. He's coming back.
I hope so.
It's only
we're-
1977.
We're
Uh,
over. We're over chef returns
Yeah,
so
over chef
far. So I
returns.
don't know.
Do you
Chef
even have
Borgia.
Happy Days at 77?
Well, let me just say this is at least this chef had a name. The first chef was
true.
unnamed chef. They didn't even
Nameless
give him a name.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Chef Borgia beams at the compliment and jokes that ketchup was a key ingredient in the souffle.
Man,
Jeff,
this episode sponsored by ketchup,
no kidding. Heinz and Hunt's, like all the cat soup,
catsup.
spelled with a C and a K. Jeff tells Gail he's coming home so he can resume being her husband. I apologize, and start being a father to their son. They smooch while the crew is sort of like oohing and ahhing over the newborn. That is not a newborn. But then I was like,
That
well,
baby
there's
was
probably limited.
huge.
Yeah, there's
How
got to
many
be like
How many days were in between the birth and them leaving?
one or two, not many,
Not that
I
less
many.
than
don't
a
know.
week.
But Tanya
So I
noted that
would-
she was like, "That baby is
Mhm.
gigantic."
Well, I think there's just a limited availability of actors, like around 1 month. Like there's not a big pool. But immediately I think of that bad guy in Bugs Bunny. Remember when he went as a baby?
Oh, Baby
that's where
Huey?
my brain goes. Yeah, the baby Huey. Gail thanks Doc for the safe delivery, while Jeff thanks Julie for being such a great marriage counselor. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Thanks for being so bad at kissing, Julie, that I went back to my wife. Also, you know what? They never got into what their original problems were. But you know what? Those problems have not
No,
been
they did.
solved.
He cheated on her.
Did they
He
actually
didn't
say
though.
that
He just said he
overtly?
left and then moved
Right.
in with
He
him.
said he shacked up with somebody
This
else.
is what I
That
have.
Doesn't
Let's see.
necessarily mean cheating.
He
I
didn't.
think you're
Yeah.
Fair enough.
probably
Fair enough.
right,
Fair
but-
enough. Fair enough. And that's it. And we
I
wrap.
mean, he's
we
whatever.
wrap.
I think Jet's kind of a shitbag, but whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. He's travel agent. You know, I'm traveling all the time. Shit.
Point is, I don't think that's going to work out.
No, it's
There are
not
some
going to work out.
problems, unresolved problems that you're going to have to deal
Yeah.
with. Good for Jeff for going back and making a go of it, but
Or saying he was going back to make a go of it. What's he going to do? The baby's right there. He's going to go,
Well,
nah, girl.
I mean, to be
Like,
fair,
jump off
And
the
then they
boat.
ended up like, oh my god, I can't believe we ended up on the same cruise
Yeah.
together.
Oh,
maybe
I
his
have to
whole
be.
plan, maybe his whole plan was to hook up with Julie and stay with Julie, and then it was just such a bad kiss.
he got all wrapped up in smoking his pipes,
Yeah.
and he just lost track of time.
Maybe he has no taste buds because of the pipe smoking.
I don't have a sense of smell.
There
It's
you go.
quite possible.
I feel like Julie is not a good kisser.
We've only really seen her kiss one person, right? Did she
Yeah.
kiss? Oh, she kissed Buddy Stanfield too.
She did
So,
kiss
two.
Buddy Stanfield. Yeah, and that's it. That's a wrap for season 1, episode 10.
All right. So King of the Mountain. This is definitely not the best episode of Love Boat. This has one. I think I enjoyed the Borgia storyline more than I probably thought I would. It was
I agree.
stupid, but it was fun. Stupid. It was well executed. Stupid. And I really liked the kitchen scene. That was really funny. The Blanchard storyline was fine. They ended it kind of weird, and the third storyline, I think we all agree, kind of sucks. So this is definitely not better than the current champion. Still, episode 5.
Yeah, I agree. You hit all the points that I was going to hit. Episode 5 is superior in every way imaginable. This one doesn't even come close. If we were
really-
talking Olympics, this is not even a bronze medal winning.
No,
episode.
and it really does highlight episode 5. The one thing I remember about it is we get further away, we're probably going to forget more of the specifics of it. But
Yeah.
the one thing I remember is it's probably the only one we've seen that had 3 quality storylines.
We loved
hit.
each. Yeah, I agree.
And this one.
Well, let
I
me
think,
ask you
rare.
then: was the strongest storyline in this episode on par with one of the storylines in our favorite episode so far?
I think you can make an argument that the Borgia storyline was one of the better wacky comic relief storylines that we've had.
100%.
So yes, that would have fit in. But
Gotcha. That makes sense. I 100% agree with you on that.
Captain of the Week, Buddy, who did you think or what did you think was the best part of this episode?
Oh, easily the captain versus the Borga conflict there.
Yeah.
I think that. I mean, obviously for me, being the chef, I thought it was most intriguing. The other two were, well, I don't know. They were okay.
Yeah.
I
Mike?
thought they should have gotten a little bit more into that one. But
Yeah, they definitely wrapped up those other ones early, which was unnecessary.
I would have to say for me, if I had to pick, it would be the instead of picking an individual, because I would just go with Chef Borgia. I think the entire Chef Borgia storyline is really the hero of this episode, because without it, this would have been a really, really bad episode.
Might have been the worst episode. It
Right.
might have been the worst episode anyway.
Like
but
it
yeah.
kept it afloat. but
glad I
without
could be
that-
here.
Oh, there you go.
Mm,
So originally I was going to give it to Steubing, but since we're kind of focusing on the same storyline, I'm gonna go to my second choice here. I'm gonna give it to Russ Blanchard. I think that he. Well, here's the thing: Russ Blanchard didn't want to go on the cruise. Made his objections quite clear. Had to sit through a couple crappy dinners, and
he
then
did
was
say
like,
why too. It wasn't just like I don't want to go for the sake of not going.
Right.
He explained it. Yeah, I get that. Okay.
and then he was like, "Cool, free pass. I'm out of here." And then had 0 comeuppance at the end. So good for you, Russ Blanchard. You're the winner this week.
Russ Teflon Blanchard.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Plus,
He's got his-
he also gets to go on vacation for like 3 more weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he's not the breadwinner, which means he's a kept man. And
Yeah.
as we pointed out, dapper dresser. So
Very dapper.
Mike,
high-waisted
walk
man.
the plank this week. What's the worst thing?
The Smiths, all of the Smiths on this boat are the worst thing.
Yeah,
I don't even want to give it anymore. It's terrible. It's
Yeah.
terrible. Smiths in
Buddy?
general.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's kind of, I don't know. I thought her character was weak from the beginning, and the whole storyline was just kind of boring.
yeah. The misappropriation of Yurik was really not.
And then like
for
trying
me.
to tie them together
Yeah.
as like not like just kind of
I'm gonna
predictable.
I'm going to go with the never confess resolution for the Blanchard storyline. I think it's a lame way to do it, one, but the fact that they've now done it twice in 10
Oh,
episodes.
really?
Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
similar one earlier, just the genders were switched.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it's kind of a cop out to the storyline. I'm not saying you have to get into it, but I'd almost rather you not know than this weird like I know, but if we never talk about it, it's a very 70s thing, right? Just bury
Like
it.
you needed this
Yeah,
to
I
move
guess, right.
on. Like it's a weird, like no, you
Yeah.
don't. You could tell it's a very male driven, like that's a male driven story. No
Yeah.
woman's going, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
don't tell me
support that
about
or
it.
write that. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Yeah, I
So,
agree.
Yeah. So all right, that's our totals and our recap for this week.
All right, plugs. You can email us at theloveboatproject@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, The Loveboat Project, at Loveboat Project on Twitter, The Loveboat Project on Facebook, The Loveboat Project on YouTube. New episodes set sail every other Monday. Any final words? Anything left to say before we hop off the boat? Nothing.
Go Birds.
Birds, that's true.
Go Birds.
I definitely think this was probably the biggest example of an episode that I liked even less the second time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put this one on your playlist.
It's funny because I go in with the
Damn.
expectation that I'm going to enjoy it. But this one,
Yeah, real
nothing I can
snooze
say.
fest. But next
We'll
week's
see.
Christmas.
That's right.
Oh,
Special
it's
episode
awesome.
coming.
I love Christmas episodes.
Hey, buddy, thank you so much for joining us, giving us that chef insight, and spending a couple hours with us talking about a 45-year-old TV show. So I
Yeah,
really
man.
do appreciate your time.
Thank you
Mike?
guys for getting me into a 45-year-old TV show. I want to go watch episode 5 now because I want to know what
It's
your
fantastic.
favorite episode is.
It's really, really good. Hey, Mike, thank you very much again.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time on the Love Boat Project.
Rudy Tooty, fresh and fruity.
We're